Second delay. Cool. All right. One sec. My camera not working well? Hang on. There's something on going on with the bloom. Okay, I think it's okay. Maybe it's just a preview. Yeah, maybe it's just a preview. Okay, yeah, it was just a preview. That was weird. Anyway. Bing bong. Bing bong. Bing bong. All right. We're here. Finally. How's the audio? Audio level's good? My mic level. Do I need more gain? Gain good? Browser levels? Okay. All right. Cool. Man, my hair's still wet. Oh well. Yeah, whatever. Anyway. What? Oh, what's up, Smelly? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I watched last night's show. I'm gonna watch it again today. I don't know how he does it, man. I don't know how he does it. It's like every single time you thought this was the best show ever, then next week he tops it. It's just... He had 45,000 live viewers at like, what was it, like 1 a.m? Midnight? Oh, is the Donbass actually falling? Hmm. 10 kilometers. Wow. Huh. Hmm. Is something finally happening? Interesting. Anyway, we'll come back to that. Let's just catch up on some of the attacks, some of the drama. Look at all there is to catch up on. So earlier, Cobra Tate, Andrew Tate was let's just look at the thread. So he's crashing out on the Groypers. He said no, because yesterday he went out and said, "Stop blaming the Jews for everything," or whatever his fucking accent is. What color is your Bugatti? And he says, and so obviously Groyper's like, the fuck, man. They're like, what, you too? Like, yeah, so Nick says, you too, huh? Because he says, nobody can stop you from being a winner. Groypers speak like a conquered people. Tough love is to ignore their influence and fight back. Stop crying nonstop. You can win without grass level self-control and strength. Andrew replies, not at all, friend. I'm a huge fan of your message, but there are a thin line between highlighting a problem and removing accountability from the rebellion. I actually believe you make it clear Personal excellence is the weapon. This is lost on some of your fans. Nobody can beat a man who refuses to lose. There's nothing really inherently wrong with that. I was about to roast the fuck out of you for calling him by the name Cobra until I saw that's his handle. It's literally his... Yeah. The fuck? Why would I throw in Cobra Tate? It's literally his handle. You're on thin ice, buddy. You're on thin ice. I swear. Ole. But, so it seems like, they're gonna do a stream or something. I agree with you, that is why I am always encouraging every Goiper to conceal their power level and infiltrate the elite society and the US government. We are already everywhere. That's why it's so bizarre for Tucker and Candace to come out swinging against me. Andrew replies, there's a lot of division and perhaps I'm old and sentimental, but it pains me to see because, again, it's what they want. I like you, Tucker and Candace. And it's like, dude, they is Tucker and Candace. Hey, retard. They is Tucker and Candace. Fucking catch up here, dude. Are you, like, are you slow? Or are you being dishonest? I like Elon and Trump. Trump is covering for pedophiles. Elon is also a Fed. It's like we're children playing tag and you just got your hand on the safe zone with me just a step behind you. You're panting out of breath and I'm just kidding. Bro. Fuck off. Please. Please fuck off. Please step into traffic. Yeah, thanks for the paragraph. Thanks for the fucking paragraph. Armies don't require 100% alignment. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. It's like, dude, this is not an army. They are not. They are traitors. They're traitors in our ranks. They're stabbing you in the fucking back. And you're saying shit like, but I like these guys. Really makes you wonder.
I'm not. I'm hard. If you think, and I said this to an Israeli official, if you think I'm anti-Israel, man, you have lost the plot, son. If you think I'm your enemy, not at all. I like Israel. Are you kidding?
What a fucking...
I've spent a lot of time there. I'm not.
Can't say that. Let's stream it out. You know a lot I don't know. My point is a meta assessment on self-improvement and masculine accountability. The stronger your followers are, the stronger you are. We have to walk the thin line of, yes, the game's rigged, but don't give up. We can win. That starts in the lives of each individual. Bro. Like, that's not inherently wrong, but no one's really blackpilling like that. But we'll see. I wonder when they're gonna do this stream. Hate that he says that you've lost the plot. Bro, you're old. Shut up, you can't seriously. I mean, yeah, dude. What a fucking... I used to think that the Trump taking over cities with federal police was based, but now it just feels like he's creating secret police for Israel. Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, dude. People not see the writing on the wall. So he'll take over cities. And then we're just asking for a false flag, bro. We're just asking for a false flag. Major false flag. Uh-oh, we need martial law. More surveillance. AI algorithms. More censorship. And we have to go bomb Iran. It's like, dude. Yeah, and then he just ratios Matt Walsh, because Matt Walsh is also a... I guess he didn't ratio him, technically. But it's just like, dude, Matt Walsh sucks, man. He fucking sucks. Like, what is bro talking about? If I said that it was important to preserve the culture of some primitive jungle tribe in the Amazon, everyone would nod in agreement. But if I say it's important to preserve the culture of a small town in rural America, I'm denounced as a bigot. For Americans, the only culture we're not supposed to preserve is our own. Just say white people, dude. Just fucking say white people. When you say rural America, you're talking about white people. What a pussy. My goodness. And he works for Ben Shapiro, who doesn't like white people, who on the record said, I quote, I don't give a damn about the browning of America, end quote. So, it sounds like you've got a you would have a problem with your boss, if you were honest. What's going on here? Oh, Benny Johnson? Oh, the fucking brainiac, Benny Johnson. Benny Johnson asked the White House if President Trump plans to give the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Doge's big balls.
Given the heroic actions of a member of this administration just a few blocks from this building, will the president consider giving the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Big Balls?
I haven't spoken to him about that, but perhaps it's something.
Oh yes, yes. I'm being a serious journalist. What's funny about big balls, right?
I'll ask
Dude.
you and get back to you, Benny. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for your fucking input, you retard. Thanks for your really. Thanks for your question, you fucking dumbass. So true. Yeah, I know. So true. Kumquat, I swear, dude. To the fucking temple. To the fucking temple. On site. On site. To the fucking temple on site. I swear. I swear, dude. Don't gaslight me. Ah. What is this? I don't even know who's. I can't be sarcastic, I can't be supportive, I can't write paragraphs, I can't type tiny messages. This is your own doing. You did this. You conditioned me to resent everything you fucking type. Congrats, your PSYOP won. You win. You happy? Oh, that's crazy. What is wrong with this guy? This guy's just faking screenshots? I don't know. Are you a groiper? I would consider myself a groiper, yes. What the fuck is this? I'm so confused. Whatever. Yeah, 07. 07. Not surprised. That's crazy. Are you having fun there, Kumquat? I'm glad. Jewish CNN presenter is praising Donald Trump's political instincts and his handling of the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, saying the whole thing is a nothing burger. Trump is another Matrix-approved president, couldn't be more obvious.
I would say that this is, from at least a political point of view, quickly turning into a dud of a story. What am I talking about here?
Dude, why are Twitter video? Oh shit. Oh, thanks for oh shit. Thanks for the sub. Appreciate it, buddy. I kind of forgot I had notifications on for that. I should probably figure that out off stream.
Wild, which
Where this has been for 3 weeks now.
Exactly. Take a look here. Google searches for Epstein down 89% versus just 3 weeks ago, falling through the floor. It is no longer the top term searched alongside Donald Trump's name. That's been trading off between Taros and Vladimir Putin without.
It's almost like you know, things happen and new things enter the news cycle, right? You know, it's almost like there was news around this 3 weeks ago, and now there isn't.
Obviously, the meeting coming up later this week.
What a fucking
jag-off.
jag
At this
off.
particular point, the American people's interest in this story, it's quickly becoming something of a nothing burger.
So out of sight, out of mind, maybe is
Yeah.
applying
Oh,
here a
just
little bit. But
drop
has
some
it
shit.
impacted? Have you seen numbers that have impacted?
No, it's gone forever.
Impacted Trump's popularity, favorability, anything?
No, not really. I mean, take a look here. Let's take a look at the overall numbers. Trump's approval rating in July of 2025, it was 45%. It's still well within that margin of error here at 44%. And you compare that to where he was in his first term at this point. He was at 37%. So he's 7 points higher, very much in a different political universe now, significantly higher in terms of his overall approval rating than he was at this point in his first term. And more than that, among Republicans, his approval rating is near a record high. hovering right at about that 90% mark. So no, he hasn't lost any of that base.
That's
And when it comes to
crazy.
that center of the
CNN's
electorate,
running cover
he's
for Trump.
basically holding
That's
on there,
crazy.
And his overall approval rating, 44%, is pretty gosh darn good for him considering where he was at this point in term number 1.
Patriots in control, right?
Why there hasn't been more movement.
Yeah, why hasn't there been more movement? I think this is pretty simple. Take a look here. Nation's top issue is the Epstein case. This
I
is
guess
the
we just
number of
won the
respondents.
argument,
This is
huh?
the
We
percentage
just
of
convinced
respondents,
CNN
the
that
number of
with
respondents.
facts and
our
logic that we
CNN
were
poll
right.
this. 0 respondents said that the Epstein case was the top issue. How about among independents? 0 independents said that. And among Republicans, and therefore overall, just a single one. So yes, there used to be a lot of interest in this story.
Oh, man.
But the bottom line is that
Let's see
among those
let's see
who
what the
had
other
interest in
issues
this
are.
story, it wasn't something
Let's
that
see what
they
the other
felt was
issues
all that
are.
important. And as I said at the beginning, the interest in this
You're
story has
0-4 on voting
fallen
for
off the
presidents.
table.
Which also, when you look at this
Ooh,
and you compare
that is
it
some
to
wild
just the
thunder.
attention that Capitol Hill was giving it, Donald Trump supporters were giving it,
What do you mean? Like you voted for the losing candidate every time? Or just like every single one of the presidents you voted for just turned out to be duds?
congressional committees were giving it. It is incongruous with
I
what
would
we're
just
seeing.
say this. Donald Trump has some of the best political instincts of any politician I've seen. And on this particular issue, you see it full well and
Obama
clear because
twice
he has
and
been
Trump?
saying, you know, this is not an issue.
Man,
It
you voted
turns
for
out that
Obama?
A lot of the American public
Jeez.
actually seem to agree with him.
I mean, I guess I can
If there's
understand,
agreement, it will become, John. That's apparently.
but Obama sucks, dude. I mean, look, it's not like John McCain in 2008 was any, that much better. Yeah, thanks for ruining our country. Yeah, thanks for fucking everything up. This is your fault. Ah, man. Oh, the plot thickens, huh? So Nick said, at the peak of my popularity, all of a sudden, there is a coordinated smear campaign by the biggest quote-unquote conservatives who wouldn't give me the time of day a few months ago. This is what happens when you start naming names and talking about the Jews, not neocons, the Jews. And then this random says, why don't you accept the invitation from Candace and settle it? Candace replies, he's not going to because he knows I am telling that is rich. He knows I am telling the truth. He lied about me. That is rich. My husband and my family are so chaos. If everything he said about me was true, why wouldn't he want to join to expose me? I'll let him pick the date and his own moderator. Dude, lied about what exactly? Lied about what? What did he fucking lie about? This bitch is just lying to everybody like we don't have the receipts. Speaking of George, why didn't you press the pedophile Jew Milo for publicly calling your husband gay for years? If you're such a tough bitch like your granddad, where was that energy with your Jewish fixer? You are such a fake bitch, it's actually insane and everyone knows it. So true, King. Yeah, look at this. Here's Milo calling Candace's husband gay. That's pretty kick. That's crazy. That's crazy. Mental, emotional, despite your obvious mental and emotional shortcomings. What the fuck? Yeah, it's crazy that, yeah. Candace patched things up with Milo to attack Nick. That's wild. It's crazy how she'll defend these Jewish sex degenerates, pedophiles, homosexuals, and people like Harvey Weinstein. Oh yeah, she's totally cool with people like that. She relentlessly attacks Nick. It's just funny. Oh, thanks for the follow, J-Mon. Dude, it's just so painful, man. It's just so painful. If you follow the thread, if you look at if you follow this story, this like drama, even just from the Nick Candace interview, like it's overwhelming, dude. Candace lost. Like Wrap it up, bitch. You fucking lost. You got exposed for being a spiteful ignoramus. And you just can't gracefully bow out. It's crazy. Oh, now she's gonna frame it as if it wasn't a debate when she attacked him on her own show. Milo's a snake is. My Nick Fuentes and Sam analysis was good. Oh, thanks. Thanks, dog. Appreciate it. Yeah, you know, I like both. You know, Sam is just, he's very intelligent. And one thing I liked about Sam's interview with Nick, you know, he's asking these questions that seem very basic. He knows more than he's letting on, but he understands like the format that the audience doesn't necessarily know what they're talking about. So when he's asking questions about like Palantir and Peter Thiel, it's safe to say that Sam knows what's up with that. So he's not, I like that. I do like that he just lets Nick cook and really sets up the discussion by asking these kind of basic questions. Like if you've been watching Nick for a while, you know what's up. But there's a lot of people that will be sort of drawn to that interview that haven't been in this space for obsessively for years, you know? So I thought that was really good. I thought that was really well done. But, dude, this bitch is like... Yeah, we never debated. It was not marked as a debate, nor did I ask you to come on to debate. Now we will debate the lies you spit on my character and your views. Answer yes or no. If I can guarantee you Charlie Kirk, will you guarantee you'll debate me first? Ooh. Ooh, dangling Charlie Kirk. Ooh, wait a second. Ooh, wait a second. A debate with Charlie Kirk. That man's been ducking Nick for like 6 years. I don't know. Sounds like more petty drama, just like the first time. Everything going on in the world, and you're still yanking my chain over gossip. You are destroying your credibility with this unhinged behavior. I've never seen you so rattled. Get Kirk to confirm, then I'll consider it. Oh, let's go. It's generalists versus professionalism. Oh, what are we talking? Sorry, there's a delay. Are we talking about the What are we talking about? Sam Hyde still? Dude, what the fuck? That's crazy. Wow, are we finally gonna get the Charlie Kirk Nick Fuentes debate? What's going on here? Is this BAP? Are BAP heads crashing out? On Man's World today, we have oh wow, yeah, Milo Yiannopoulos. Funny, reveals just how close Nick Fuentes came to cashing in with the Texas neocon billionaires and selling out his fans. Yeah, Milo Yiannopoulos, huh? Very reputable. Who comes close to dinner dressed like? Who comes to dinner? This bro's a psycho. The reason Nick Fuentes is a devastating generational failure is that in craving admiration from his peers and feeding his own demons, he forgot his number one responsibility, building a coalition with people who can actually do things. NTG, Vance, BAP, Thiel. Yeah, wow. Yeah, all these people named are just cream of the crop, elite human capital, and totally not Zionist assets. Or just straight up Jewish in the case of like Milo, BAP. I think Cerno might be Jewish too. These are precisely the people Nick has worked hardest to alienate, not realizing that it's us who would have done all the heavy lifting and carried him to lasting fame and influence. That's gone now forever. Wrap it up, Lonk, dude. Nick put on a 45,000 live viewer show last night on Rumble. On fucking Rumble, dude. Like, what is going on? What is going on? Oh, I don't know if you guys saw this, but
some viruses.
I mean, they just tell you they hate Christianity. These Jews just hate Christians and Christianity. I mean, if in case you didn't know that by now, I mean, they consistently tell you that.
Anti-Semitism is a bit of like a virus. And like some viruses, it exists in the kind of body politic and it's dormant, like chickenpox. You get chickenpox as a young person, and then after the kind of inflammation subsides, it's still in you. And it can manifest again when you're older because of stress or age as shingles. Although you can get inoculated and you can prevent that from happening. So I think anti-Semitism is similar. It's like this contagion. It's as old as time, right? We face it for thousands of years. First it was, after the death of Christ, there were these accusations that the Jews killed Christ and that the Jews weren't a real religion because we didn't accept Christ and then we didn't accept Muhammad. So you have this, the Jewish religion isn't legitimate, and that was the basis for the Crusades, which is at Tish B'Av, which, remembers the expulsion. We had inquisitions. We had all these horrible things. And then, after the Age of Reason, it was, maybe, and they realized that the sun doesn't revolve around the earth and the earth isn't flat. Then it was, okay, maybe Judaism is okay as a religion, but it's the Jewish race that isn't legitimate. And then we saw kind of anti-Semitism metastasize into this kind of race-based form of hate, which of course exploded with the Shoah. And then after the tragedy of that, the injustice of that was exposed, people then said, it's not that their religion is illegitimate or their race is illegitimate. Now it's the Jewish state that's illegitimate. And we see that now in the form of anti-Zionism, which is anti-Semitism.
It's very his bit about trumping the rise of Alfred. I don't think I saw that bit. I don't know if I saw that bit. Dude, I love how he lumps in anti-Semitism with like flat Earth and shit. If you're anti-Semitic, you are anti-science, or you're just some like backwards dumb retard, some stupid goy. Like he's like, dude. Yeah, man. It's as if like people are like, he's framing it such that like people are conceding along the way. Like they concede like that initially they didn't think Judaism was a legitimate religion. It's not really what it was. It's not like people didn't believe that Jews had a certain faith or a certain religion. It's that they didn't like that religion and they didn't like how they were practicing that religion. Because first of all, yeah, they did claim that they killed Jesus. That's a big part of it. That's a big part of Talmudic Judaism. Following Christianity, they really had to differentiate themselves from Christianity, and so they spent a couple centuries in debate, and they compiled those debates in the Talmud, and that's become the basis for Talmudic law, for the practice of their faith. And that's what's unique to Judaism, is the practice of the faith is more important than the details. Very bizarre. But yeah, nobody thought that, like, it's just like such a sneaky way to frame it. Like, oh, people didn't take Judaism as a legitimate thing. The religion wasn't real. No, people did know about Judaism. They just didn't like what Jews were doing as they were practicing their faith. They didn't like the way that they were practicing it. And then, oh, it's about the Jewish ethnicity. Well, yeah, I mean, it's pattern recognition. If Jews go around and they're doing, things, bad things that Christians find appalling, like, poisoning wells, abducting children, like Simon of Trent, and then eventually stealing land and killing Palestinians, both in the Nakba and now today, committing all kinds of terrorist attacks, like the bombing of the King David Hotel, and then trying to frame their enemies for those attacks, namely Egypt, USS Liberty, JFK, 9/11. People notice the trend. So, dude, I get so many of these like kick ads, man. Ugh. they're gonna memory hole Epstein fast. They're already trying, dude. They're already trying to memory hole it. That's what we just reacted to. This CNN is now saying, it's not a big deal. MAGA doesn't care about Epstein anymore. Look, Epstein searches are down 89% because there's been no new developments. Do they think people are going to search Epstein every single day waiting for... No, but people are clearly unhappy with this administration. There's no defending this shit, man. And you know it's bad. You know it's bad when CNN is defending Trump now. It's like, wait a minute. CNN? I thought CNN was fake news. I thought CNN was like part of the liberal matrix or something. And now they're running cover for Trump, who's running cover for pedophiles. That doesn't seem right. I thought patriots were in control. Wait a second. What's going on here? Oh, maybe we just won them over with our facts and logic. Maybe CNN is based now. Like, dude, they really think we're fucking retarded. Some of us are, but, you know, not all of us. What is this?
All heard one cool, cold line where he says that I am America. And everybody's like, yeah, protect him at all costs. No! He is a schmutzy. Why is Nick Fuentes?
What is wrong with people, bro? What is wrong with people? Look at our ideological opposition, dog. This guy seemed like well-adjusted to you. What a fucking freak. Trump makes them click. Yeah, I mean, there's truth to that. Melly, you're telling me we haven't won the culture war? No, we have won the culture war. Look, we got CNN defending Trump. We own the libs. Let's go. We did it, guys. We own those damn libtards, those fucking libtards, and their gay politics and all that. Look, we got our fat racist. He's in the White House. We won, guys. Okay, everyone can go back to sleep now. Everything's good. Epstein files, what Epstein files? It's fake news. Fake news. Mass deportations? What are you talking about? Watch this sick ICE edit, right? Move along now. Oh, amnesty for illegals on farms and in hotels? Well, I mean, they're hard workers. You know, we don't want to kick out It's like, dude, this shit sucks, bro. This shit sucks. Everything about this administration sucks. What is this? Bro. What the fuck? Oh, let's listen to this dude. Guys calling Nazis totally. Yeah. Totally unhinged. What group is that? What nonprofit think tank? Wait, what does that sign say? I can't tell. I can't tell what it is. That is where I think the internet is a big W. It's just at that country club. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh, fuck, dude. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Oh, man. Oh, fuck. You tired of winning yet, guys? You're tired of winning? Look at MAGA, dog. Look at our MAGA, dog. Oof. Oh, shit. We're so tired of winning. Oh, man. I wonder when Nick is gonna do that collab. But I guess it's Destiny
by Peter Thiel's Best Boys, by Tucker Carlson with his daddy. Tucker Carlson's, and you know what? Here's the other thing. Tucker Carlson said I'm a weird gay kid in the basement. Yeah, and I'm from Chicago.
Yeah, you get it.
You're right. Well, okay, you're not right about that. but I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Tucker Carlson says, I have so many trust funds, I
Damn, he's still so young. I feel like, depending on how he navigates,
dude, Destiny's cooked, man.
Fuentes has like he can be charismatic.
Oh yeah, Nick Slater's posts. Yeah, we were going through them, man.
I feel like he could do something politically, but he's too young right now, so we don't have to think about it, I guess, right now. But
dude, Destiny's fucking. Remember like 2 years ago? Was it 2 years? Yeah, right. It was. Yeah, it was 2 years ago when he did that big debate with Destiny. And like I remember after that, Destiny was like, "Yeah, Nick's career is basically over. Nick's career, he's like irrelevant now." Is Destiny live? Is Destiny live right now? What does he stream? Is he stream on YouTube? Let's take a look. Let's see if Destiny's live right now. But yeah, 1.2K viewers. So. Nick pulled fucking 45K last night at midnight. You know, he gets attacked by Elon Musk. Elon Musk is responding to Milo, the gay federal informant. Where is it? Yeah. And he, like, Nick wakes up, rolls out of bed, and just shits on all of them. Like, look at this. So Milo accuses Nick of being a Fed, right? And all of this precipitated Nick's show from last night, where he just relitigates for the 1,000th time that, no, he's not a Fed. And he brings all the receipts. Elon Musk replies, Yeah, and just immediate ratio. Yeah, the Russia, no, actually, this is the Zionist debate, the one on Fresh and Fit, with Destiny. They hate him because he's good looking, and they're not. Well, yeah, that's part of it too. Some people just don't like the fact that they're at the bottom of the totem pole. You know. I want to see his beef with Tate. Yeah, let's take a look at that. I don't know if anything has come of it yet, though. They're gonna do a stream. I don't know when. Oh, I have to go back in this thread. But essentially, Tate was attacking the Groypers. What's up, Heavenly Spirit? How's it going, Doug? Asmon is crazy. NMP. Oh, what did Asmon do? I've yet to see Nick lose a debate. For real, man. He doesn't lose. Type. Yeah. How's Iran occupation? Iran occupation? What? Nick lost the Russia debate with Destiny. You're the community note on the Milo post. Oh, was there a Milo? Was there where are we? Yeah, here we go. No, it's a different post, dude. Like, look at what Elon said. Doesn't make sense that the FBI leaves Fuentes alone unless he's some kind of an asset of some kind. And yeah, it's just clear a case of bad jacketing. What was the community note, though? Nick remained uncooperative with all questioning and has testified under penalty of perjury in the January 6th committee that he had never been involved in the federal law enforcement. Also, Milo Op is a literal FBI informant despite accusing Nick of one. So true. That is so true. So true. Oh, Israel occupy of Gaza? I don't think there's anything new today on that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, yeah, no, it's true. Milo is literally a federal informant. Nick covered that in this show. Yeah, and again, like, Nick just ratios him because, I mean, he's right. Man, he's been posting a lot, and I gotta keep scrolling. Wait, let me go back to the... So yeah, yeah. He is. He's single-handedly... It's so funny, man. It's like, what started as like... I mean, look, this has been going on longer than this, But what really started all of this big unraveling was Tucker's attack on Nick with Candace when they both colluded to go after him. Man, did they fuck up. Man, did they fuck up. Who knew that Tucker calling Nick a gay fed would have backfired so tremendously, unraveling this like enormous CIA network, you know, including Tucker, Candace, Elon Musk, obviously Peter Thiel, Joe Kent. The list goes on and on, and it's like this massive ongoing expose. He was mad yesterday. Yesterday's show was epic. Yesterday's show was one of the GOAT. It's crazy. I keep saying this, but it's like, you know, he every time you think he's like topped it, he just tops it again. I guess we could just go through it again. I guess we'll just go through it again. That was insane. Like they thought they would bury him, but instead he absolutely.
Information tonight. We're going to unpack all the allegations. We'll
actually
talk about
crazy.
The whole thing. We'll talk about it in its totality in a holistic way, so nobody can accuse me of
You just got here. Can you
pivot?
Can you tell me what happened after Tucker called him a gay fed and why? So Tucker called him a gay fed, presumably because, and neither of those two things are true. There's no credible evidence, but presumably to tarnish Nick's reputation, because Nick has been going mainstream. He's breaking through the censorship. He's breaking through the narrative. And much of that came from his on-point analysis on the war with Iran. He called it last year. He was one of the few that called that if Trump wins, we will be bombing Iran. And people at the time, a lot of them brushed it off like, come on now. Trump is the anti-war candidate. Well, sure enough, here we are. We've bombed Iran, where we continue to equip and fund Israel's military. And again, Nick was one of the few that called it out last year. So he's been vindicated on a number of points. He's connecting the dots between the Peter Thiel network and Palantir and how much influence they are gaining, not only in over our media, but in our government as well. And so he's been connecting the dots for quite some time now, and he's gaining more and more momentum to the point where they can't contain him anymore. You know, Candace had Nick on for the first time, and there's been a lot of beef there going back a couple of years because Candace continuously dodged Nick. Even when Nick had displayed overwhelming support for Candace after her schism with the Daily Wire over her criticisms of Israel. And so it follows that, you know, now that she's no longer under the boot of the Daily Wire, that maybe she would want to branch out and touch base with Nick, especially since they're both friends with Ye. But that didn't happen. And essentially, Candace was stringing him along for quite some time. And then, you know, in the middle of the war with Iran that was breaking out a few weeks ago, like a day or two after his biggest show ever, he had 60,000 live viewers on Rumble. She finally messages him, you know, saying, hey, you want to come on the show? And he's like, okay. So Nick goes on the show with Candace, and it's a total hit job. Even though she said it wasn't going to be a hit job, Nick asked her, hey, is this going to be a friendly interview? And she's like, no, I don't do setups. I don't do hit jobs. Well, it was a hit job. For over half the interview, she's grilling him on this internet drama. Hey, why are you mean to my friend Dave Smith? Hey, what did you say about this? About, you know, relitigating all of his comments about like race mixing and race and IQ, and just trying to drag him, really trying to dig him and press him on these issues to make him look bad. It was totally an ambush. Nick was not appreciative of that. She put the interview behind a paywall. Again, that's pretty disingenuous. Nick calls her out on it. It tanks her credibility because everybody can see that she was full of shit. And she didn't even know basic history and geography. So she's like, kind of an ignoramus. She takes that personally, and then she runs to Tucker, and they collude. Tucker has behind the scenes been working with with people who have made hit pieces on Nick, specifically the Gray Zone, this newspaper, or this what is it? Not a newspaper, but it's a media outlet, and he was trying to get info on Nick. He was asking around, asking people like Michelle Malkin, hey, do you know anything about Nick Fuentes? Is he a Fed? Stuff like that, clearly digging for some dirt. And so finally they get together. Tucker calls him a gay Fed, and this whole thing explodes. And the reason why, like I said, is because Nick is gaining so much popularity. He's naming names. He's bringing specifics, he's bringing receipts, and he's tanking the credibility of these like actors, these people, these conservative influencers, and that's really bad for their ability to maintain control of the narrative. So what are they resorting to? Just flinging mud, relitigating old drama, the January 6th stuff. People have been calling Nick gay for years, and it's all unsubstantiated. So anyway, yeah, the last 10 minutes, yeah. You fell for it? Yeah, well, fell for it again award. So apparently Trump is just a puppet, a vessel for... So I kind of sped her on that as quickly as I could, but the point is they're really trying to tank his credibility because he's calling out the network. He's calling out how specific, Jewish power, but specifically Israel's government, through proxies like Peter Thiel or the CIA, have been able to influence our media and our government. Through the Thiel network, he exposed the extensive history of the CIA, which was like this, with the Israeli government from the start. That was a really good show. I recommend everyone goes and watches that. And so the whole thing, Trump, Elon, Peter Thiel, they're all connected. People like Candace Tucker connected to the CIA. People like Joe Kent, obviously CIA. I mean that's like in his CV. You can look that up. So the whole thing is just exploding in their face, and it's kind of dangerous right now because they're trying everything. They're trying everything to ruin his credibility, and it's just not working. It backfires every single time. So, pray for Nick, because they might just try to kill him again because they're losing control of the narrative here. People are waking up to what's going on, but the most dangerous thing for them is that people have specifics. They have the names. They have who's who. That's when things become dangerous for them, because it's one thing when you can shroud everything and obfuscate it through like an organization, it's the CIA. But when you name people and you bring the receipts, that's when they're exposed and there's nowhere for them to go. So they can't refute his claims. It continues to backfire. And it's just, as far as they're concerned, for them, it's spiraling out of control. So they might get desperate. She was also just attacking him verbally with no logic behind the argument. It's just cheap journalist. Yeah, I mean, Candace is just fucking, she's not smart, man. She's legitimately, at best, like, in middling intellect. Like, really, like she's mispronouncing words. What, she thought that the Russian Revolution happened in the 1800s? Just, like, basic stuff. She's got all these, like, debunked conspiracy theories that she's pushing. After one of the first things she did when she broke free from the Daily Wire was she said, it's not the Jews, it's the Frankists. The fuck is a Frankist? What is a Frankist? What? And went through this really convoluted conspiracy theory, citing many pro-Israel Zionist Jews along the way, to craft this narrative about how it's these like international converts with no like real religion. They're just, they're like shapeshifters, but they're not actually explicitly Jewish. Some of them were Catholic. And it's like just obvious misdirection. Now she's supporting the Khazar theory, which was also debunked. It's like she's trying to ruin the credibility of people who are critical of Israel, either intentionally or unintentionally. It's crazy. Yeah, Max Blumenthal at the Gray Zone, yeah. And his wife was the one, I think, that was putting the hit piece together, if I remember correctly. Clearly independent, but we have weapons. Well, it's not Fed Post now. Or yeah. So that's like the crash course 5-minute breakdown. Papacan's still active. Has he weighed in? I don't know. I do not know. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think he's weighed in. If you listen to him carefully, you'll notice he has already accepted his fate that they'll kill him. Yeah, well, I don't think you have to listen to him carefully. I think he said that. He said, like, look, I think they're gonna kill me. I think it's pretty clear, you know, when he says, look, if they kill me, that would be. He said, if they kill me, that'll be a big mistake, because that'll turn him into a martyr. And, you know, I'll expand on that in a second. But he also says, like, look, if they kill me, then it's on all of us to pick up the pieces and to carry the torch forward. That's why I mean this sincerely when I say we all need to double our efforts to pray for Nick, because we're in the fucking danger zone right now, man. We really are in the danger zone. I've never seen this level of awakening. It's insane. You've got like liberal bitches on TikTok saying Nick was right. Nick was right. It's like, dude, this is crazy. Exciting times, but scary times. You can feel the energy. You can feel the momentum. And I do think when Nick says it would be a huge mistake if they kill him, I don't think these people understand. As far as like, in the grand scheme of things, the political spectrum, in many ways, Nick is a moderate. I know that sounds crazy, but there are people more extreme than he is. And Nick has been very grounded. He's been the sort of the moral anchor for the right wing. He is a devout Catholic. He consistently advocates against violence or threats of violence. There are people out there who are not Christian, and they do advocate for things like violence. So if they take out Nick, I think that, I don't think they know, and I'm not saying this is a good thing. I want to make that clear. I disavow violence, but I think you can see how things could spiral out of control. Seriously. And yeah, I think that would accelerate things if they took him out. My argument against Jesus. I didn't make an argument against Jesus. Yeah, I don't know. Candace is weird, and her advocating for Harvey Weinstein so random and weird. Yeah, isn't that strange that she's trying to rehabilitate this notorious pervert, pro-Israel shill? Essentially a Mossad asset. The last 20 minutes. Okay, we could jump ahead to the last 20 minutes. In 1 second. You know the name of the video when Nick talks about the creation of CIA and Mossad? It's one of his last two. I mean, you can find it on Rumble. It's one of like... So there's this one. So there's this one. This is the first one where he's talking about Tucker. And then I think this is the one where he talks about the long history of the CIA. This one right here, exposing Tucker Carlson's CIA connections. Probably rename that to, I don't know, the history of the CIA and Mossad. Oh, simulation? Oh, okay, gotcha. You know, defensive pugilist against an offensive one? Interesting. There won't be another like Nick? Yeah, I know, man. He's just so goated. It's unreal. Your grandfather is more extreme than Nick. I agree Nick is a moderate. Well, I mean, your grandfather's like boomers are they're kind of like that. They have no chill, you know? They'll go to a rally and they'll set up the gallows. Like, okay, like, which politician we hanging today? It's like, whoa, chill. Like, boomers just like, they just fed post all day. They don't fucking care. It's kind of crazy. No one else can connect the dots like Nick can, and predicted every major event this year and was dead on. Yeah, that's why he's winning. That's why they can't stop him, you know? They just can't stop him. But I guess we'll jump ahead to the last 20 minutes here where he really pieces everything together. This is probably close enough.
He was chosen. Mr. Thiel placed calls to encourage Mr. Trump to choose Mr. Vance. Mr. Vance was a friend of the Thiel network going back years, said Crystal McKellar.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, you know? It's like, I think one of the good things, there are many good things that come from this, but I think that one of the huge things that's coming from all of this huge expose of all of these influencers, CIA assets and whatnot. One of the big things that's going to come from this is people will absolutely do their due diligence, or I would think they would do more due diligence. Whenever you get these like random influencers coming into the scene and are all of a sudden being astroturfed, like Tucker came out of nowhere. Well, he didn't come out of nowhere. He like burst into the MAGA sphere in like 2017 or so, and like overnight he became like the biggest late night talk show host for conservative politics. Weird, especially when you consider he was a Democrat, and prior to that he was a neocon, and all of a sudden he's the voice of MAGA. So it is kind of, I think the lesson in this is, moving forward, whenever you see somebody who sounds kind of based, like maybe they're giving some dog whistles, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, hey, rural America, how about, what about white people? And they give all of these like dog whistles. Now people will just do their due diligence and say, hey, what's going on here? Your father worked for the CIA. That's not normal. That's a little bizarre. Oh, you took all these, it's like Tucker's in Nicaragua gun running with the Contras in 84. And it's like, huh? That's not normal. So I think now people will be a lot more locked in. So Nick is going to be a major political figure like a Francisco Franco. He's already got millions, maybe another guy from that same time period. He's already got millions of young men behind him. People mock him at their own peril. No, for real. Look, and I don't want to speak this into existence, but even if it's not him, pray for Nick, but even if they take him out, whoever rises from that will be directly inspired by him. I think that much is clear. Watching Nick's live stream is watching history unfold before our eyes after we've been subverted for the last 70 years. Yeah, I know, for real. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, he is on fire. He's absolutely fucking killing it. The way Nick went through how the Trotskyites helped form the CIA and have been funding conservative influences, naming all those names, all to hundreds of thousands of people watching. Dude, that's the thing. It's like when we talk about, these people, right? They are terrified of specifics. They operate in specifics. They name names. They call for specific policy. They don't deal in generalities. That's one thing about like specifically Jews is they are very specific. So when you throw it back, pause. But when you are specific back towards them, you see how they recoil, and you see how the whole system is recoiling because they're being completely exposed. All of this relies on deception and subversion, and when you remove that element, you see how fragile. You see the inner workings and who these people really are. So you see how they're really grasping at straws now. Nick is what we were all hoping Trump would be, but deep down we knew Trump was a boomer and a shill for other countries. Yeah, that's yeah, I mean, there's a silver lining with Trump in that he created Nick. But yeah, I mean, Trump is cooked. Absolutely cooked. An asset for Israel. Most canceled man with the most views. I guess canceling him works very well. You could say it's a Streisand effect, but I just think he's successful where 99.9% of others would have failed. Just through sheer talent. Like through sheer talent, willpower, the cult of personality, he's been able to break through, We haven't had a real election since George Bush Sr. ordered the CIA to assassinate Kennedy. Yeah, elections are fake. Then they assassinated RFK to make sure they got the message. Well, yeah, the Mona. That's why, because they were investigating JFK was investigating Israel's nuclear enrichment at the Mona. And so much so that when JFK called out Israel, told them to stop, the PM of Israel resigned the next day. So they killed him to get their nukes. Also because, you know, they were pushing they're pushing the Israel lobby to register under FARA. And now those Israel lobbies sort of kind of reorganized into what is AIPAC today. So, thing what people don't realize, and Nick's major point to the world is you can never separate Israel and Zion because Israel is Zionism. Yeah, and that's true. And they tell you that. They literally tell you that. You know, people like, we saw this today, you know, people like Jonathan Greenblatt on the ADL says, hey, if you criticize Israel or the existence of a Jewish state, which they conflate, then you're actually being anti-Semitic. That's what he says. So, okay, all right, I'll take your word for it. Fine. But you're right. You're 100% right. It is a core part of the Jewish faith because they believe that they need their Jewish land, the holy land, or really the chosen land for the chosen people, so that with their coming of their Moshiach, right, their Messiah, there will be a great cataclysm, right? There will be a great destructive event. And as the chosen people living on the chosen land, they'll survive that. And emerging from that will be this new world order where the Jews rule the world. That's what many of these rabbinical Jews believe. So, yeah, at the CIA. Notice a trend where CIA planted voices went from mainstream news to podcasting. Same time, people lost trust in media outlets, and suddenly they all have 4 mil subs. A mob-created state? What are you talking about? Mob-created state? What, Israel? No offense, guys. Oh, are you saying that because you're not American? No, it's true. Look, the CIA is, it's essentially a cabal for Israel. They want the world, not just Palestine. Yeah, they want to rule the world from Israel, though. You know what I mean? Yeah, of course they want to rule the world, but they want their Jewish state. It's of significance to them. It's also very valuable territory, not just for religious purposes, but for economic and geopolitical reasons as well. If you look at where Israel's situated, it's right at the bridge between the 3 continents. And so trade flows through that region heavily. So it's either they're going to make a play for the Suez Canal, or they'll carve out their own canal through what is Gaza. But they want access to those trade routes because they'll become one of the wealthiest countries overnight, especially considering like China's Belt and Road Initiative that wants to move through the Middle East. They want to tap into that. So, yeah, they're coming for USA. Yeah. Even the laws and government is built off Zio laws. Well, yeah, I mean, and they're doubling down on that with these anti-Semitism laws. So, Israel's a mob-created state. I mean, sure, created by the Jewish mob, if that's what you want to say. No, the creation of Israel was handed to Jewish mobsters, essentially. Israel's like the middle of the classic world as we know it. Yeah, I mean, look, it's very important territory. Like that region, if stabilized under, like a monolithic rule of under a monolithic entity, like a singular Jewish state, then yeah, you'll see trade increase through that region tremendously. Israel will become very, 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 very rich very quickly, simply by being the middlemen between all of these trade routes. People don't want to go around Africa, right? And it's typically better to keep your shipments by sea for as long as you can. So to go through that part, right around the Arabian Peninsula into the Mediterranean through that region, to keep it on your barges as opposed to stopping in a harbor and unloading everything, that's inefficient. It costs more, so it's better to keep your trade, your shipments on ships on the sea for as long as possible. Bob is loyal to Rome and accuses Israel of world domination. Oh no, Nick. Yeah, Nick is loyal to Rome and accuses Israel. You're hearing crazy talk, dude. Okay, Bob. I hate to break it to you, man.
It seemed Peter saw something special in him. Mr. Musk also encouraged Mr. Trump to choose Mr. Vance in private communications recently. On Monday, Mr. Musk called Mr. Vance's selection an excellent decision. Vance has relied on Sachs, whom he called one of his...
Wait, Bob, aren't you like 72? Bob's been in here before. He's a boomer. He's a boomer. He gets confused very easily. Be gentle. He gets confused very easily.
Closest confidants. After that event, Vance introduced Sachs to Don Jr. You know who else lobbied Trump to choose Vance as his running mate, in addition to Peter Thiel and Elon Musk? Tucker Carlson. This is from the New York Times. When word got back to Tucker Carlson a few weeks ago that President Trump might be wavering on J.D. Vance as his running mate, Mr. Carlson intervened. Mr. Carlson, who was visiting Australia on a speaking tour, phoned Mr. Trump and delivered an apocalyptic warning.
Oh, I've been found out. Damn it. They're on to me. I've been had.
Their conversation, according to two people briefed on the discussion, was included in an article in the New York Times exploring the years-long process of how Mr. Vance won over Mr. Trump. In their phone conversation in June, Mr. Carlson told Mr. Trump that another top running mate contender, Marco Rubio, could not be trusted, that he would work against him and try to lead America into nuclear war. Mr. Carlson, who declined to comment, told Mr. Trump that the other top contender, Doug Burgum, could not be trusted either. Get a load of this. Tucker told Mr. Trump he believed that if Trump chose a neocon as his VP, then the U.S. intelligence agencies would have every incentive to assassinate Mr. Trump in order to get their preferred president.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? You get a room full of like some of the richest people in the world, and they go up to Trump and say, hey, you should pick JD because if you don't, the deep state might kill you. What an odd thing to say. What an odd thing to say. You get people like Peter Thiel, Elon Musk. Hey, you should pick Vance. And Tucker, too. Tucker was in there, too. You should pick Vance, otherwise the deep state might kill you. Huh. Okay. What an odd thing to say. What? Huh. All right, then. Whatever they say, they seem to get their way. That's power for you. They've got the money. They've got the money. They're the ones behind the control panel. They're pulling the levers and shit. But, that will change. That's why it's like, this is like, what we're seeing here is like how politics really works, of course. It's about the money. It's about power. It's not about really necessarily about like ideology. Like we just need to vote harder. Hey, if everybody votes twice as hard this time, then democracy will win and America will be back on track. It's like, no. That's not how things work. And this is clearly indicative of that. So, about who wields the power. It's like the system itself is kind of tertiary. It's ancillary to who actually runs the system. So whether it's democracy, a constitutional republic, socialism, national socialism, a dictatorship, or, a theocratic or monotheism or something like that, what really matters is who wields the power and how they wield it. What is their worldview? What do they believe? So they would love it if everybody were an ideologue and they believed in ideologies, like political ideologies, specifically like, we believe in democracy. Because then you would really look no further. Does somebody support democracy or not? And then you easily fall for rhetoric. Very easily fall for rhetoric. But the moment you say, like, look, let's not play into this system. Like when Nick told people not to vote in this election, he was attacked relentlessly for it. So the idea that you would step outside of the box, the idea that you would step outside of this like carefully constructed avenue. Hey, you want to fix things? Take this path and just vote. Make your voice heard. And they present you the options, 2 options they always present you. The moment you look behind the curtain and you think outside of like this ideological bubble, and you no longer are an ideologue, and you sort of dive deeper into like identity politics, that's when they start to freak out and they attack you. Because again, there are people that run the system. When people complain about capitalism, it's like, well, who invented capitalism, and who's running the systems of capital, right? Who runs the banks? Who runs these corporations? When people complain about lobbyists, okay, well, who are the lobbyists, and which lobbies are the most successful lobbies? You know, it's, you get what I'm saying, and you know, there's nothing necessarily strictly ideological about that, and so they hate that. They do not like that, because people are thinking more critically then. Yeah, whatever they say, Trump has no choice but to select Vance, pretty much, or they'll kill him. And they kind of almost did, you know? They, an inch and a half away from killing him? Pretty scary stuff. Read any Chomsky? A little bit, like a long time ago. I don't remember much of it. I actually read him in middle school. So. Trump has Barron and Melania in a bomb shelter. Think so? Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, and Sam Altman are such messed up guys. They really need help. Yeah. I mean, look, they're like, especially Alex Karp. I mean, he's just like histrionic. You know, he's paranoid. That's kind of dangerous. When he wields this, you know, the power of this AI military algorithm platform, and he's paranoid about white nationalists throwing him off a roof. Like he says, that keeps him up at night. It's like, okay, you see the danger of handing him this technology that's creating AI generated kill lists and compiling all of our data between all of the different federal agencies. It's compiling every American's data into like one private database. Yeah, that's a little scary. They are messed up people. Every inch matters. Yeah, watch Crazy Days and Nights and Epstein Files a bit. Crazy Days and Nights, never heard of that. Really interesting Trump info from Etney, famous Hollywood lawyer, and it's actually positive for Trump and pretty revealing. Positive for Trump? Yeah, well, I don't know. I think Trump is pretty cooked. I think it's fair to say he's on those files, and to what extent he was doing any kind of wrongdoing, I'm uncertain, but I think it's fair to say he's on those files. You know, there was an article put out, was it in the Wall Street Journal a couple weeks ago, a month ago or so? Yeah, well, point is, I think it's fair to say, just based on his behavior and his reluctance to release them, if they even have them anymore, they could have been destroyed. I know Israel has them, though.
Made a last-ditch overture to President Trump. Pick Vance. Pick Vance. You have to pick Vance, or else the intelligence agencies will kill you if you don't. Peter Thiel, the FBI informant and CIA contractor, Elon Musk, the defense contractor and PayPal mafia member with Peter Thiel, close confidant of David Sachs, and J.D. Vance, who brokered the David Sachs fundraiser with Silicon Valley and Trump, mentored by Peter Thiel, mentored by David Frum, who worked for Bill Kristol with Tucker Carlson. Thiel, Musk, and Tucker lobbied Trump to pick Vance, and they said, if you don't, the CIA will kill you. Who's the CIA? Who does the CIA, NSA, FBI, DHS, who do they all contract with? Palantir, founded by Peter Thiel and Alex Karp and Joe Lonsdale, Israel First Jews that after October 7th flew their board to Israel and provided them with facial recognition technology to murder Palestinians. J.D. Vance, who upon becoming the VP nominee in his first interview said, we're going to bomb Iran.
I remember
who went
that,
to
yeah.
the Quincy Institute and said, we need a pro-Israel spin on America first. Tucker, who interviewed Vance 46 times on his show, Vance hired his son Vance's Rockbridge network was the spawning point of 1789 Capital, founded by Rebecca Mercer and Claire Monster Chris Buskirk, which gave Tucker $15 million. Rebecca Mercer
here we go.
funded Steve Bannon at Breitbart that spawned Milo Yiannopoulos' career. And Rebecca Mercer hand-selected George Farmer, Candace Owens' husband, to run Parler in 2021.
And there it is. It's all coming together.
This is why they want me dead. Who's the Fed? Who's the Fed here? Because I brought all the receipts. Last Friday, the Friday before that, tonight, Google it. Google it. It's all there. You want openness? You want transparency? There it is.
This was before him running for office. He was the only one that would talk to prosecutors without attorneys, subpoenas, told them to come into his office. Maybe I'll check it out. I probably won't react to it on this stream, but maybe next stream. Candace and Tucker don't explain shit like this. It seems like they just are condemning Israel now to jump ship. Oh, 100%. Like, Tucker is not leading the narrative. He's trailing behind the narrative. He's trying to corral people back. You know, hey, I'm actually still based, right? We actually still love Israel, right? Come on, guys. It's America first. We should just leave Israel alone for now, right? And he goes on to say, oh, but I love Israel. If you think I hate Israel, you've lost the plot. Such a freak. What's your thought on right-wing infighting? Nick, Tucker, Sam, big Twitter accounts like Surf, White, etc. They all seem to be pushing the Overton window in the right direction at the end of it. A lot of them are fake. Here's something you need to understand. A lot of them are not who they say they are. People like Surf, I know exactly who you're talking about. A lot of them run in, like, they're deliberate Hasbara. Well, maybe those aren't deliberate Hasbara accounts, but they're deliberate, like, Unit 8200. They're in with the BAP sphere. If you don't know who BAP is, Bronze Age pervert. He's a Romanian Jew. Went to Columbia, right? Got his PhD. Went to school with Barry Weiss. Barry Weiss, you know, Mossad intelligence. Got her start with funding specifically from what is the name of the organization? It's the Center for Cultural. Fuck, I forgot the acronym. Essentially, got their start from CIA crowd seed funding, and this was all. This specific part about the seed funding was revealed in Nick's last episode, his last major expose. And so, Bronze Age pervert, he runs with people like Curtis Yarb and a bunch of these other Jewish intellectuals. I think he actually, did he get his, I think he's had his run-ins with Peter Thiel too. Because Peter Thiel funded things like Sovereign House, which all of these people are a part of. And a couple other institutions I can't remember off the top of my head. And they all pose as like internet anons, like supposedly right-wing based anons, and they're not. You know, they say that like being pro-Palestine or opposing Israel is like brown-coded and stuff. It's third worldist if you support Palestine, and it's like, dude, they're committing a genocide. So these people are trying to pose as right-wingers, like based right-wingers, to get people to essentially be pro-Israel. And so a lot of them are not who they say they are whatsoever. Same way Piers Morgan jumped shit out of the blue for months after spewing propaganda. Yeah. I mean, look, they can't control the narrative anymore. It's an obvious genocide. It's one of the same reasons why countries like France and the UK and Canada are jumping ship too. And they're going to recognize Palestine as a state in September. It's becoming untenable. It's hurting their credibility. The rest of the world recognizes it's a genocide. Now America is the only country in the Security Council that doesn't recognize Palestine. So they can still veto from the Security Council, but it might pass in the General Assembly, in the UN. And of course, if Palestine is recognized as a state, then they get all of the human rights that the people that live in a state get. That's one of the reasons why Israel's not a fan of that. But I digress. So Tucker still knows the CIA's intentions. He's in it. Yeah, he is CIA. He's legitimately CIA. He's just pretending not to be. It's a beautiful country. He has Tucker to say it while condemning them. It's hilarious. I think Trump might have an arranged marriage. He wouldn't want that out. I think pageants are a way to present eligible women to wealthy bachelors. They're kind of vetted. Maybe that's wrong. He might have had an arranged marriage. I don't know. I don't know anything about that in particular. Stop what you're doing. Okay. The entire narrative is being spinned to be, it's okay to criticize Israel, but that's where they want it to stop. If you keep peeling the layers, it all roots back to Zionism. Or the models, the beauty pageants, then introduced to politicians, football stars, people that don't want a wife that they don't have a vetted background. Is that trafficking now? I mean, look, it could have been. I mean, we know that he lived in that kind of world. He was really tight with Epstein, and we know what Epstein was about. So I don't think that's too far-fetched. As far as like arranged marriages and whatnot, I don't know. How young these women were. I'm willing to believe that quite a number of them were probably underage, to say the least. So that's why they try to separate Zionism from Israel. Yeah, no, that's why they say like it's the Zionists and not the Jews. And it's like, come on now. Because when you talk to most like anti-Zionist Jews, it's kind of clear a lot of them are simply more concerned about how this is bad optics for Jews, and they're more concerned about rising anti-Semitism. It's not about the fact that the Jewish state is committing a genocide. To them, it's about the consequences of that, the backlash to that they care more about. It's a little subtle, but it's revealing. So, yeah, like the people online, you have to understand, so many people are not who they say they are. They're just not. And they might hide behind an anonymous account. They might say based things. But typically, you do a little bit of digging and it's revealing. A good litmus test is how they feel about Nick. Because if they were truly, like, quote unquote, directionally aligned with us, then they would be supportive of Nick. At the very least, like, supportive of how he's getting the message out there. But I see a lot of these, like, based anon accounts, like, spewing the same garbage, like, oh, he's a gay fed and stuff like that. And that's very telling. Because there is this concerted effort to discredit Nick. And, Tucker is part of that. Real Jews now should reject the Jewish state, or you're not a Jew, prove me wrong. I mean, I don't think you can expect that from them. You know what I mean? Like, it's their people. They're going to defend their people. It's in their interests as a collective. But yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it would be nice if Jews condemned the actions of these Jews. And not just the ones in Israel, but even the ones around the world. The ones that are pushing things like mass migration and usury and pornography and all that shit. Yeah, I think it would be wise for them to really try to assimilate at this point because, and I'm not calling for anything, but because in particular they're so paranoid about getting kicked out of countries and just looking at history, maybe it'd be a good idea if they tried to like be, magnanimous and assimilate with the host country rather than being so combative all the time. That's the problem. When you say it's just Jews instead of the Jewish mob, the generalization unifies them and suddenly they become the ruling 2%. It's not really that. It's like, I'm not saying it's like, nobody's saying it's every single Jew, but the problem is clearly Jewish in nature. You mean Judaism, not Zionism? That party with Epstein and Trump and all the girls, that's an arranged party for wealthy men who were marriage-minded to see if they hit it off. I don't think it's that's legal now. The 80s and 90s crazy. Maybe. Probably something like that. I mean, look, the 80s and 90s were degenerate. They're trying to separate Judaism from Israel, but they're one and the same. Yeah. Yeah, good chat. But yeah, it's like you can see how not everybody who purports to be right-wing or on our side is who they say they are. That's the depth of the deception here. That's why people like Tucker are frauds. And he's skin suited as like a right winger for years. He grifted off of that. And the purpose of that is to control the narrative. He won't take it as far as Nick. And the fact that he attacks Nick says he's not like a part of the pipeline. He doesn't intend on like, you know, dog whistling people to like get them to go to somebody further to the right, like guide them to somebody more to the right of them. He's a gatekeeper. He's preventing people from going further to the right. He says, go no further than this. Otherwise, you're like a Nazi or something. White identitarianism is bad, he'll say. Did you get the standard edition? I got the Phantom edition because, you know, what can I say? They got me again. Yeah, the problem is that their ideology teaches them the supremacy, that they are God's chosen because of their blood. Well, there's a lot more in there that that is problematic, to say the least. They don't just think that they're God's chosen people. They think everybody else are subhuman, and that they can do whatever they want to them. Choose controls. What can I say, man? They got me. I had to get the expensive edition of Battlefield. Whatever, dude. Whatever. Eat your chicken nuggets, bro. Is the Jewish laws? Yeah. I think IDK Jews are relatively peaceful. It's just extremism. Well, you should do more reading. I would encourage you to do more reading. It's not just like they're subversive. They've been subversive throughout history. This has been going on a lot longer. This kind of behavior has been going on a lot longer than just what's happening in the last, 2 years. Pornography is sexual abuse in virtual form. Yeah. It's wrong. It's terrible. It needs to be dealt with. But that's like saying I'm a Christian, but I also don't represent Christian laws. I know, like I'm trying to understand more about the actual Jewish faith. So I'll say this. So I'll give you a bit of a crash course on the Jewish faith. And we could go back to Jesus Christ. So after the Jews killed Jesus and they claimed the blood of Jesus on him in Matthew 27:25, when Pontius Pilate washes his hands and he says, I won't have the blood of an innocent man on my hands. The Pharisees, the Jews that were calling for Jesus' execution because they called him an idolater, because Jesus said, I am him. Me and the Father are one. And so they called for his execution. Well, they responded to Pontius Pilate by saying, his blood is on us and on our children. Following Jesus Christ, they had to really redefine their laws to differentiate themselves from Christianity. So you probably know about the Torah, but you might not know about the Talmud. The Torah, which roughly the first 4 books of the Old Testament, is actually not the crux of the Jewish faith and practice. It's the Talmud. And the Talmud is a series of dissertations that were compiled within the first 4 centuries after Christ or so. And in the Talmud, they believe they're God's chosen people, and that everybody else, the Gentiles, they refer to us, are beasts, subhuman beasts, and cattle meant to be enslaved by the Jews. And as such, they can do whatever they want to us. They can enslave us. They can commit usury against us. They can rape a what they call goy, a Gentile child as young as 3 years old, and that would be the equivalent of giving her a poke in the eye. It would be impermissible for them to do these things to another Jew, but totally, it's all fair game if they do all these things to a Gentile. They say never say nice things to a Gentile, never give gifts to a Gentile, and that even the best of Gentiles must all be killed. They believe Jesus Christ is in hell burning in a vat of excrement, and that the Virgin Mary was a lying prostitute. There is something like 8 different genders in the Talmud. So this is the Jewish faith in practice. This is like their unholy book. This is the crux of their faith in the modern age, and it has been for close to 2,000 years. But it goes further than that. Like going back to the time of Moses. This is a bit of an esoteric deep pull, but he came back to his people, the Israelites, and they were, after he came down from the mound, they were worshiping golden calves. They were doing human sacrifices. They were worshiping Canaanite gods. And so, Moloch and Baal. And so some things have never changed. And there are Jews that worship Moloch. They worship the devil. And what is more appalling to them is not to one another is not that some Jews worship the devil, but how they worship is like the more appalling part. It's so bizarre. Like an example would be like if one Jew washes his hands 3 times clockwise to honor a certain deity and the other washes his hands counterclockwise, they might find that practice appalling to one another. Not who they worship, but how they worship. It's a very strange phenomenon. No, you take it all. Orthodox come from. This is where the terms. Okay, I don't know what that. Yeah, keyboard's messed up. Yeah, it is. They're peaceful till they decide you're a threat to them. I will do more reading. Subversive is good. A word for what I do currently know. Here's a great article. I'll point you in the right direction if you want to know about. So Ron Unz is one of the GOATs. Ron Unz he's like a giga genius. He has a great website called the Unz Review. I highly recommend if you're smart, and you have the patience, read Ron Unz. He's very intelligent, very academic, very rigorous in his research. Everything he does is cited. He has this one article that I think is a great primer. I have to find it. It's also strictly prohibited that a Jew reveals the contents of the Talmud to non-Jews. Oh, is this... Oh, wait, hang on. I think it's 2018. Do I have to go back in time? Hang on. Oh, we went too far back. Turn page 3. Oh, come on. Let me do this. Oh, wait, maybe do this. I will find it. I don't know why I'm having here it is. This right here is a brilliant starter. You can listen to it. It's an audio format.
American Pravda.
I always point people in this direction when they want to know more. Jesus' boiling poop was not the wisdom I was looking for in an ancient. Yeah. It's not. Yeah. You're like, wait a second, that's not right. Jesus is boiling and what? What? That should be like the pause moment, I think, for a lot of Christians when they learn about that and what they really, how they really feel about Christians. And we reacted to this earlier, but look, like Jonathan Greenblatt, he talks about how he thinks Christianity is the greatest source of anti-Semitism. It's just connect the dots. And they think anti-Semites should be killed. Somebody like Ben Shapiro said that anti-Semites should be killed. They also say stuff like Europeans have anti-Semitism and bigotry in their DNA. So it's like, okay. So if anti-Semites should be killed, and every European has anti-Semitism in their DNA, what does that imply exactly? I think you guys know what I'm saying. The thing about Judaism is that they have a set amount of rules, and it's up to them to decipher what it means. Pretty much. Watch Europa: The Last Battle. Europa has a lot of inaccuracies, though. It's long. I don't think it's the most digestible thing. I've watched it, but I know that they're working on like re-editing it, to fix up some of the inaccuracies. I don't know how many people have the patience for like a 10-hour documentary, but I think you know, something like Un's review or even I think what was the other one? The Greatest Story Never Told is I think pretty decent. I haven't watched it. But yeah. Or just watch Nick's show, frankly. Just watch Nick's show. Islam doesn't say this, bro. We love Jesus. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Islam, and look, I'm not Muslim. I don't have a great affinity for Islam. I'm Catholic. But yeah, like Muslims don't spit on Christians, or they don't hate Jesus. You know, they consider him a prophet, but they don't hate him. Not like the Jews do. Notice how Catholics only want to save souls, but Jews and Muslims are like Gentiles and infidels. Just use them. Yeah. I don't, you know, look, Christianity does not permit lying. And both Islam and Judaism do. But as far as like if I were to categorize as which religion is worse, I think Judaism is much worse. And again, I'm not Muslim. I don't hate Muslims. I personally think they're wrong, though. I mean, that makes sense. I'm a Catholic. Yeah, is there a certain edition that is better than others, kind of like the King James version, so to speak? I don't know about specific versions, but there are censored versions out there. Because again, it's not supposed. There are passages that state that, you know, the Talmud cannot leave the inner sanctum of the synagogue, and that if there's literally a passage, if the Gentiles find out what's in the Talmud, then they'll surely have the Jews killed. So, you know. But you can there's some writing from Israel Shahak. You can also look into. But yeah, this is a great place. This is a great place to start, because Ron Unz cites everything. He cites everything. He has related readings. If you're really interested, start here. Yeah, the Metzitza Bippe, yeah, nasty. They suck on baby penis. Shalom, Naisu. Shalom. Like 11 hours. Let's wait. What ETLB? What is that? What are you talking about? You're on Amazon trying to learn more. Your Uncle Sam was Jewish, and when he married into our family, his family had a funeral for him and never spoke to him again. Interesting. Oh, no, dude. Yeah, let's do a 10-hour fucking document. Oh. Well, Muslims and Christians are very close. Main difference is Muslims don't believe in Christ and Muslims believe in one God. Well, Christians believe in one God too. They just believe that there's 3 parts in one God. You know, yeah. I don't know. Muslims think that's like a big dunk on Christianity. They're like, oh, how can God be 3 things in one? He can't be. That doesn't make any sense. It's like, he's God. He's God. It's like, you think he's bound by the same rules that we're bound by? But I'm not here to. We're dunking on one religion, right now. One religion at a time. What they're really trying to do is bring in the Antichrist, and that's why they need the land of Israel where the temples are. Yeah, no, that's true. They want to rebuild the 3rd temple, and currently on that temple mound where the 3rd temple used to sit is the Al-Aqsa Mosque. If they blow up that mosque to rebuild the 3rd temple, they'll piss off the whole Muslim world. And they also believe that they need to sacrifice a red heifer to do that. And this is not me. This is not a schizo conspiracy theory. This is literally what they talk about. These rabbis in Jerusalem, this is what they say. I am just simply quoting them. That is all I am doing. But they take this very seriously. There's 3 hair. Yeah, wow. Yeah, you should become. Everyone should become Catholic. I know, obviously, I'm biased as a Catholic, but I won't go through the whole thing right now. But I mean, I'll say this. If you think about God and the nature of God, and a loving God, Muslims don't typically talk about, they don't really depict Allah as being a loving God, but as a like commanding presence more so, a like fearsome, like authority. And Christians believe that God is an authority as well, and he certainly is. You know, he demonstrates wrath at times, but the key distinction is the loving part. And when I think about the nature of the universe, when I think about truly the virtues, the greatest virtues a person can have, it's this idea of self-sacrifice, that we sacrifice for those that we love. We sacrifice to make the world a better place. And so the very mythos of Jesus Christ, God incarnate in man, God's only son, coming down, living amongst us, suffering as we do, and dying for our sins on our behalf so we have a chance to go to heaven because God loves us so much, that just I think really resonates. And I think that makes perfect sense when you look at sort of the nature of morality. And I do think there's an objective morality. And when I think about the kind of, even just selfishly, when I think about the kind of world that I would want to live in, yeah, I do think the world would be better if people were self-sacrificial. You know, they sacrifice their own well-being for their fellow people, you know, their family, the world, the humanity in general. And I think that's something that most people could probably agree on. And I think that is a gift from God himself. God gifted us with that grace. So much so he was willing to die for us. And that just, to me, makes perfect sense. I think that's very compelling. God is good. Yes, God is good. God is good. They found the red heifer, by the way, if you want to hear it, it's not confirmed. I've heard something like that. They're going through the red heifers. They're trying to find the perfect one. I'm not keeping up to date with it too much. When it happens, it happens. When they make their play, they'll make their play. It's all contingent on circumstances, right? There's no, I can't give you a probability or a timeline, you know? Jesus was our savior. Yeah. And Shalom's took him out. Absolutely. And, you wonder why they're doing what they're doing. It's because they hate God. Like that's like if you don't understand anything about Jews, it's they're in open rebellion against God. They killed God. They hate God. They hate Jesus. Like how else could a collective be so wicked? And I know it's not all Jews, not every single one of them, but a lot of them, enough of them. And it's so much so that this problem is consistent with Jewish identity. And so that's why we pray for everybody. We pray that people repent and people come to Christ. That is what it means to love everyone, truly, is that you want what's best for them. So that's why we do pray for Jews. Even though a lot of them are doing wicked things, we want them to repent and stop doing wicked things. So it's not biased if the Catholic faith is the one true faith, with it, which it is. Yeah, I'm just trying to be diplomatic, you know. All I know is we believe in one God. These Jews believe in themselves. Yeah, look, Farron, you know, I know we're not going to perfectly agree on this. You know, you're Muslim, I'm Catholic, but I think for the time being, yeah, we can agree that these Jews clearly, they hate both of us, right? They hate both of us. I think the Wailing Wall is the Antonia Fortress anyway. It was like an adjacent structure to the Second Temple, but it's really all that remains. So it's a symbolic significance to them. Abrahamically speaking, Allah and the Trinity are the same thing. Yeah, but Catholics believe that in order to fully accept God, you need to accept Jesus as God, not as a prophet, but as God. Because as Jesus said, nobody sees the Father except through me. And it makes sense, you know, if you think God is the law, right? God states the moral law that we all need to abide by. And just think about heaven for a second. What is heaven? Heaven is a place where you're in perfect communion with God. There is no sin in heaven. So by definition, you can't be sinful and make it to heaven. However, we all have sin in our souls due to original sin, due to the fall of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. So we are all sinful. We have sinful temptations. We're all sinners. And so the wages of sin is death. Before sin was introduced to the world, there was no death. There was no suffering. And all that is being an absence of God. If God is life, then an absence of God is death. It follows logically. Therefore, somebody has to die, right? more or less. That's the presupposition to all of this, that because the wages of sin are death, somebody has to die to pay for those sins. And so Jesus takes it upon himself to die for our sins. And if we accept that, it's our choice. If we accept that, then we have a chance to go to heaven. And that's how much God loves us, that he takes upon all of our sins on him. And I always think about this painting. By Michelangelo, The Creation of Adam. So here's God, here's Adam. And look at how God is descending from the heavens. He's got all his angels supporting him. And he's really stretching out, like, look at how hard he's trying. Look at how much intensity he has. Muscles bulging, just trying to touch Adam. That's it. Just trying to touch Adam. And notice how he's in our mind. This is the brain. He's constantly with us. He's constantly within us. We all have God within us. And he's trying with such intensity just to touch Adam, to make that connection. And so contrast that with how Adam is positioned. He's leaning back. His wrist is limp. He's resting it on his knee. All Adam has to do is this, and he touches God. And it's like a revelation. The whole world just comes into clarity. That's all he needs to do. And so when I think about Jesus, when I think about my God, the Christian God, I think about this. I think about a God that loves you so much, he's willing to die for you just to reach you, because he loves you more than you can understand. And he wants to be with you as a father to his son. That's my God. This is my God right here. This is the God that I believe in. Oh, my face covers Adam's. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, there's Adam. Sorry about that. Their deal is anti-Christian. Yeah, Adam King, classic example. Jewish chauvinist Adam King, when asked point blank which religion he would destroy, Islam or Catholicism, he said, "Oh, Catholicism, easy." The Jews hate Catholicism way more than Islam. It's not even close. They opened the gates to Toledo and Jerusalem to Muslim invaders. And that was in the 7th century for Jerusalem. I think it was the Umayyad dynasty when Muslim was initially spreading from the peninsula. Yeah. They already took out the Muslims, if you think about it. Entire Middle East is destabilized by them. Iran was the only one left, and they defeated them, unfortunately. Well, Iran's not defeated just yet, but they've got them in their sights. Iran's the last holdout. If they topple Iran, then realistically, there's nothing that can stop Israel's hegemon in the region. They'll just own the region. Our difference was Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the light, and no man entered the kingdom of heaven except through me. No priest to confess to. You go straight to the source." Yeah, except, I believe there's an authority and there's a succession. I believe that Jesus gave Peter the keys to the kingdom. He said, "Look, upon this rock you'll build my church. And while I'm gone, you need to take care of things. You need to lead the Christian world." And I think Christians need to have the humility to submit to an authority. In the same way we like atheists have to have the humility to submit to the authority of God, I think that Christians need to have the humility to submit to the authority of God's institution, which is the church. Because I look at it this way. The Catholic Church is a 2,000-year-old institution that's dedicated its entire existence to getting it right. Does that mean they always get it right? Does that mean every priest gets it right? Of course not. But I look at between Protestantism and Catholicism, which one has endured the test of time and the sort of the sinful ways of the world. And I think the Catholic Church has overwhelmingly stood better. Protestantism is not really, there's no unifying element to it. It's kind of everybody just kind of believes what they think is right. And I think it's I think it's a little naive to think that we can navigate all of this so easily. Open the Bible and try to read it unassisted. People have no idea what's going on. And so they get it wrong all the time. And this is how you get heretics. So it's an immense responsibility to get the word of God correct. So, I'll come caught. You want to beat a woman, right? Okay, chill. Yeah. Anyway, besides Julian the apostate, did anyone else try to rebuild the temple? Yeah, there've been a couple attempts. I can't remember. It's been a minute. Was it Julian? What century was this? I cannot remember for the life of me. But there were like, when they tried to rebuild it, there were like people spontaneously combusting. This is during the Roman era. I totally forgot. It's been some time. But they've tried several times to rebuild it and no success. So maybe God will smite them if they try again. The church wasn't established by Jesus, though. Well, it is. He told Peter, "Upon this rock you will build my church." He literally, it's direct succession right there. He gave Peter, who was, the first pope, the first among equals, he gave him the authority to absolve sin. So it was the Catholic Church was established by Jesus. There's a direct line. You can see the line of succession going all the way to Peter and before Peter, Jesus. So we still have pastors in the council, but it make a lot of sense. Look, and I'm not going to say that like Protestants aren't earnest, that they're not trying, or they don't sincerely love Jesus. I'm not here to say that. I believe them when they say they love Jesus, but I believe first, if we love Jesus, we should love his church. And if we have problems with the church, if there are problems exist, we should try to fix those problems and not abandon the church. I think Christianity is way better when it's united, when we're united under a single church. But additionally, I think it's important because the church has guidelines. In Catholicism, there's a normative path to have your sins absolved. Of course, you pray to Jesus, you pray to God, you work on yourself, you work hard to not sin. But you have to confess your sins and then do penance. And then you take the Eucharist. You are literally in the presence of Jesus during Mass. And by consuming the Eucharist, Jesus can help heal your soul. And it's a process, of course. But it's one that you have to be active in. And so Catholics believe there's a normative way to go to heaven, meaning this is the standard path. That doesn't necessarily disqualify other people from making it to heaven. I think there are exceptions. We simply don't know who does and doesn't go to heaven, but we have the guidelines. If you really try and you make an effort and you go through this process, and that's what it's about. You have to put in the effort, because part of it is acknowledging that we're imperfect. We have sin, and most people unfortunately aren't trying. And you need to recognize that, look, someday you're going to die, and someday you're going to go before God, and you're going to have to explain yourself. And it's not to say that it's a purely selfish thing. It's actually selfless, because to be an ideal Christian, it is to spread the gospel and to go out and do good, and to not live selfishly. So you will be judged on your actions. Anyway. Evangelical Christians and Catholic Christians, they believe in Zionism, but I was a kid and didn't get it. Yeah, evangelicals are dispensationalists. That's considered heretical by the Catholic Church. We don't believe in dispensationalism, meaning that like God had like a different set of rules at different times for different people. We believe in universalism, that God loves everybody, and that's part of Christianity. When which book was it? I don't have the exact passage off the top of my head, but when Jesus says both Jews and Gentiles alike can enter the kingdom of heaven, it's a new covenant, and evangelicals still believe largely in the old covenant. God has a way of rejecting the older brother, like Cain and Abel and Jacob and Esau. The Catholic Church supersedes the Jews. Yeah, it's the new church. It is the new covenant. By the way, huge misconception that Jews use to trick Christians is those who bless Israel shall be blessed. Yeah, no, that's a classic one they use. Not realizing it has nothing to do with the nation Israel, I mean the church of Christianity. Yeah, we are the new Israel. The church is the new Israel. Not the state that was created in 1948, not the Jewish secular state of secular state of Israel. Yeah, people who say that just aren't educated. Like that interview between, and I don't like Tucker and I don't like Ted Cruz, but like Ted Cruz said, he cited that and ignoring all of the context, because that was in Genesis, around that particular passage. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess I will look no further. Does that mean if I name myself Israel, does that mean that all the Christians will worship me? Is that how that works? It's just the name that matters. Like, give me a break, dude. Yeah. I also don't think we believed in purgatory. Evangelicals, I don't know if they do or don't. Evangelicals are worse than Jews. In a sense, they are, because I think they're misleading a lot of Christians. Pray for evangelicals, because I think a lot of them mean well, but they've just been totally fooled. And again, that's why I believe in the Catholic Church, because look, which institution is more likely to withstand subversion? This 2,000-year-old institution with hundreds of thousands of priests that have to be very well educated and intelligent in order to become priests. Like, you need a college degree. For some of these orders, you need a master's degree. So you're looking at a minimum of 8 years of schooling, right? Undergrad, and then you go through seminary school before you can become a priest. So who's going to be better, like that, or like some Protestant church that was built in a repurposed Popeyes with Pastor Billy Bob that read the Bible a couple times, So, like I said, I don't think I will keep saying this. Not every Catholic priest is going to get it right. There have been missteps. There have been problems in the church, but the church is still standing. The church is still standing. And look, it is to say that it's filled with people. The church is still filled with people who are sinners, who are imperfect. The Pope still goes to confession, just like every other Catholic. You're learning a lot? Oh, no problem. No problem, Mitt. I'm glad to help. No, I won't pray for them. I'll catch the comments. No, you have to pray for them. Catch them one in a dark alley alone at night. You're going to beat them like a dog with a lead pipe if they force me into a self-defense situation. For self-defense. For self-defense, of course. Don't put me in a self-defense situation. No, but jokes aside, we have to pray for everyone. Yeah, Pastor Tom Buckaroo. Yeah, Pastor Tom Billy Bob. It is tiresome. You ever watch the Blues Brothers? That was my church on Sunday. Off the chain. I did watch the Blues Brothers, yeah. Yeah. Classic. Once you go behind the apostolic faiths, Coptics, Catholics, Orthodox, Armenian, it gets wacky. Sola Scriptura has been a disaster for America. Yeah, absolutely. And also, where in the Bible does it say to only, to only listen to the Bible? Where in the Bible does it say Sola Scriptura? It's like, it's honestly, it's up to Christians to interpret. And like, it's not, we don't worship the Bible, we worship Jesus, and we are Israel. We, human beings, the Christians, not the Bible. God works through us. Ultimately, not to be diminutive, but the Bible is a text. It's up to us to interpret and imbue the lessons in that text. It's our responsibility to do that, and it's a great responsibility. Not to diminish the divinity, the divine inspiration that created the Bible, but it's true. It's on us. We have to get it right. And you see a lot of quote-unquote Christians clearly getting it wrong. You've got these Protestant churches saying, I believe in the one non-binary God. And it's like, what is that shit? What are you talking about? And so you have to get it right, because the consequences are dire. If you get it wrong, you and the people you influence can go to hell forever. And we pray that God has forgiveness for our wrongdoings, for our every time you go to Mass, we pray for the things we've done and the things or the things we failed to do. And so it is to sort of treat it with this responsibility. So yeah, Sola Scriptura is just rough. That and the Schofield Bible have done a number. But I think evangelical Christianity is dying down. I think after the boomers are gone, it's going to be far less influential. So, but yeah, this is Yeah, theology moment, I guess. You don't like the Protestants? Yeah, I mean, they've been misled. If it was worth writing, Jesus would have jumped off the cross and written it. When he said, "It is finished," we had Peter and the apostles. Yep. Jesus didn't write anything down. And in a certain sense, there's a lesson in that. You do have to put some trust and some faith into the faithful. We need to trust each other, to build a church, to build a community, to be Christianity. That is our responsibility, to be Christianity. You know, Jesus didn't leave us with any writing. And I think there's a lesson in that. So, anyway. But I just think it's so funny, you know, you got, you know, to bring it back to Nick, it's like you've got this devout Catholic that has brought so many people to Christ, and he's just attacked relentlessly, you know, and it's like, hey, that's to be expected. The more virtuous you are, the world tends to reject the virtuous. Not comparing anybody to Jesus, but we use Jesus as the example. Look at how he was rejected. He lived a perfect life, and they hated him for it. They killed him for it. So the Protestants are okay. Conquat, chill. Never met a Protestant with an IQ above 100. Yeah, I mean, look, they're definitely they've definitely been fooled quite a bit. It is irritating though. Sometimes talking to Protestants, it's like talking to a brick wall. My grandparents raised me and sent me to Rock Christian Academy until 7th grade. So yeah, it could be kind of old-fashioned. I think the reason why Nick is always right is because he has God in him. I believe it. I think because he's telling the truth. Oh, my hair's like crazy. Yeah, he tells the truth. It's like God is showing him the way. Again, look at how many people have every night you'll see a plethora of super chats coming in. Thank you, Nick, for helping me find the Catholic faith. Thank you, Nick, for helping me find God. Thank you, Nick. Just started RCIA. Thank you, Nick. Found my way back into church. It's like every night, and he's setting a great example. Yes, he seems to be a really great kid, Buck. So glad he came into your feed via channels like this. Yeah, Nick is really just doing incredible work. But he's not a kid. He's a man. He's 26 years old. He's a man. Yeah, how do you feel about Alex Jones? Do you think he had a genuine reaction to finding out Trump's involvement in the Epstein files? He feels kind of shilly to an actor. I like Alex Jones. I've been a little suspicious of him at times because he's been reluctant to, take it as far as I think people want him to take it. I think I look at it and it's a little unfair, I think, because they have really fucked with him. He's on the hook for like almost $1 billion after the Sandy Hook lawsuit. He's been smeared and attacked. So it's easy to like judge him from outside the arena, but he's in the fight. And the mere fact that he's platformed Nick so many times, I think says a lot. I think it says like, hey, maybe I don't want to go all the way there, but here, I'll platform somebody that will. I think that gives him a little bit of plausible deniability because he does have people relying on him. He does have a family. He does have employees. So I get it. If his business went down, a lot of people outside of himself would suffer as a result. So, I appreciate it. I try. I'm just trying to be as honest as I can. He strengthened your faith as well. Good. He's strengthened my faith as well. He's a good, very good example. Alex Jones is low IQ for someone older than Nick. I actually think he's very high IQ. I think, he comes off as sort of brash, and I think that turns people off. But I do think he has a lot of knowledge in his head. He'll just pull dates and numbers and figures out. I do think he's intelligent. I think that's just kind of his erratic nature. He's like he has so much energy. It's crazy. Maybe too much methylene blue, but I think he's hilarious. I think I believe Nick when he says there's no pretense, that he's just that way. And again, because he platforms Nick, I think he's good by me, and he hasn't disavowed. I think some of it is he's a boomer. Sometimes boomers are a little slow to catch on, and so he's still holding out hope for Trump. and people like Tucker. But again, I think the good litmus test is how people look at Nick, because Nick is the guy taking it there. Nick is the guy spreading the message and taking it 100% of the way there. And so if somebody were taking it 50% of the way or 20% of the way, somebody like Tucker, and they attack Nick, that is suspicious to me. But I think people forget, like, the day after, like, Alex Jones was calling out Israel 20 years ago. The day after 9/11, he blamed Israel for it. You can look up that clip. And so I think he toned it down because I think he probably became very jaded, if I'm being honest. I don't think America was ready for this 25 years ago. I really don't. I think now we're ready for it because also we didn't have the internet the way that we have it now. We didn't have social media 25 years ago. We didn't have as many cell phone cameras and whatnot. So it was a lot harder for people to be like citizen journalists, you know? That's what the bagels heat. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded. Yeah, that was that was great. Yeah, that was one of my favorite Alex Jones quotes. Look, Joe, I got to be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded. I'm 56, so I didn't mean it bad. He's just sweet and reminds me of Good Will Hunting. No, I understand what you're saying. Like, but yeah, I think Alex, he's good by me. I like Alex. Like I said, I was a little suspicious for a minute, but no, I think he's totally on sides. Yeah, totally 180 degree. Now I'll just take his word for it. Oh, you don't like Alex Jones? I like Alex Jones. I do think he's smart, though. Alex Jones is knowledgeable, but he's brazen because of his personality and shtick. I agree with that. He is funny. Yeah, he's very funny. Alex tend to be politically correct often, not willing to go there oftentimes. I think that's kind of a generational thing, you know? Because he was sort of imbued in that sort of self-flagellating white guilt complex that a lot of people from that generation carry. Alex tend to be politically correct. Yeah, I just read that. Nick should sell pre-work and call it Super Session Vitality. He actually talked about starting an energy drink. Seemed like he was kind of serious about it. That'd be kind of funny. I don't know how he could get it sold in any store, but he's talked about that.
There it is. Watch this clip.
Kumquat, chill, Kumquat, chill.
With Milo. Oh, it gets better. You think I'm done? Do you think I'm done? Watch this clip. Let me put my headphones on and you can see for yourself. Where will the fence sitters land after this? Let's see. Let's see where they land.
Very low
or if they
tolerance.
join in on the takedown. How about this? How about another joke, Candace?
Like I said, look, even if you don't like Alex for whatever reason, he's willing to platform Nick. And Nick taps into his audience and red pills them. That is so valuable. Immensely valuable. Why her eyes so far apart? Kind of getting away from her a little bit, huh? That's crazy. Ice Age.
Oh, hang on. Where's my audio?
Now, obviously, I think those chances have been completely annihilated given what's happened. But what do you think about J.D. Vance? I find his silence to be quite loud.
I have a feeling he's going to really pleasantly surprise us all because I think the expectations for him were so low. He's a creation of Peter. People always like suspicious about, he's a creation of Peter Thiel without really explaining what it is about that that's bad.
Wait, hang on. Wait a second. Didn't you just say that I'm an FBI asset? I'm an FBI informant?
Yeah. Yeah, Peter Thiel is also an FBI informant. Funny how that works, right? All these people that are literally FBI informants calling Nick a Fed. Like, dude, hello. Well, if the Paul brothers can be successful with Prime even temporarily, so could Nick. I mean, he could if he were allowed to. That's what I'm getting at. I don't think a lot of mainstream, maybe that'll change in a few years, but as of right now, I don't think any like mainstream stores would do business with Nick for obvious reasons, right? He's just so canceled. Nick on pre-workout is going to be crazy. Yeah, you think he's hostile to super chats now? Just wait. Just wait. When he's on when he has a methylene blue stack, and he's all creatine, beta-alanine up, you know? Just wait. Yeah, immense value, good point for Alex. Yeah, exactly. That's why just the mere fact he's platformed Nick and allowed Nick to tap into his audience, I think says a lot about Alex's intentions. I almost feel like he's willing to fall on the sword at times for this movement. When push comes to shove, all women behave the exact same way, regardless of what they're preaching. Based. Very based. If Nick ever gets on pre-workout, he's going to complain about it every night. Well, what kind of pre-workout? If it's the beta-alanine shit, he'll be like, why is everything itchy? This pre-workout fucking sucks. I'm so itchy all the time. You know, but if it's just like creatine and like caffeine and like B12, not a big deal. You'll just be like fucking amped up, you know? That's Milo Yiannopoulos. He's a oh boy, he's a gay, literally gay FBI informant. He was a conservative commentator. He hates Nick because he's also Jewish, by the way. Long story around Milo Yiannopoulos. But yeah, he's a gay Jewish vet, essentially. Milo's mouth. Ugh. Messing up my sleep schedule. It makes my tummy feel funny. I can foresee. He's gonna bitch about it for 20 minutes before every episode for a month before he just lets it go. Yeah, he'll I don't think we're ever gonna get like jacked Nick Fuentes, but can you imagine? Can you imagine? It'd be so over for everyone else. Juice World said all the girls are the same before he died, but he knew what was up. Nick's holy water. Nick should sell water called holy water. I don't know what he would call it. He would want something that isn't like, you know, cheesy. You would want something that's like actually, you know, he doesn't want it to be a gimmick. He wants it to be like a professional thing, I'm sure. That you could like not a total meme, but something that could like actually compete and be taken seriously. It needs the beta-alanine. You're not scratching your face like a mechanic, then it's not real. True. Are you really? And if it doesn't fuck you up, like, are you really gonna like, are you really gonna hit a new PR if you're not about to shit your pants on the squat rack? If you're not like, if there isn't a turd like turtling out of your ass when you hit that depth on that squat, is that pre-workout really doing the trick? You have to be on the edge, you know? Have you really put the effort in if you haven't shit your pants? I don't think you have. I think you need to be willing to shit your pants to take it to the extreme. That's what winners do. They push it to the max. That's a joke. Don't shit your pants in the gym.
Get shit on? Eat shit and die?
Groiper juice.
Wait a second. Let's get an instant replay here. Let's get an instant replay.
Now, obviously, I think those chances have been completely annihilated given what's happened.
Because it felt good the first time. Let's do it another time.
I find his silence to be quite loud.
I have a feeling he's going to really pleasantly surprise us all because I think the expectations for him were so low. He's a creation of Peter. People always like suspicious about he's a creation of Peter Thiel without really explaining what it is about that's bad.
Well, what's bad about Peter Thiel? He's an FBI informant.
Workout not good for your sperm bank?
That's for starters. Among many, 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 many other things.
Wait, which ingredient though? I don't use pre-workout though, not anymore. But is there like a specific ingredient that's bad for your sperm count? Yeah, definitely eat meat. Don't be a vegetarian. That's a good way to soy out. Definitely eat a healthy amount of meat. And balance it out too. Like get your protein in, right? Like don't eat too much chicken. That's how you get gyno. And too much red meat can give you heart problems. And too much fish, like salmon, can give you mercury poisoning. So balance it out, spread it out a little bit.
Things. How about this? How about another explanation? How about another joke, Murray?
How about another joke, Murray? Chunkus. Unnatural stuff.
How about this?
I guess you just gotta get good stuff then.
That's a good reason. Palantir tech giant struggles to answer question about Israel's use of AI-generated kills. I defer to Israel. How about this?
How about another joke, Murray?
How about this? How about that? How about this?
Yeah, avoid GMOs and...
How about this? You think we forgot about this one? How about the greatest hits?
And non-organic.
How about the greatest hits of all fucking time? What do you think of this one? This is from 2017. I reached Posobiec by phone on Saturday. The previous day, he told me he had flown from Washington to Miami to attend a party hosted by the far-right self-promoter Milo Yiannopoulos. Posobiec spent much of Friday morning monitoring 4chan poll. People were claiming something big was coming, so I just keep hitting refresh, he told me. Shortly before 3 p.m., an anonymous user posted 9 gigabytes of information, hacked emails, photographs, and documents from the campaign of Emmanuel Macron. Posobiec could not know whether all the information was authentic. He considered it his journalistic duty to tell his followers about the leak, which he was tipped off about.
Gotta cook from scratch. I hope I one day grow and farm and eat everything I made with my own hands. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's like there's just garbage in all the food, man. It's rough. You know, combine that with the microplastics and everything. The, you know, the birth control that doesn't get filtered out of the tap water. Like, literally. Yeah, it's, not looking good for... It's not looking good for people. It's something like 0.5 percentage point on average of your brain, of people's brain, is now plastic. We all have plastics in our brain. And in all of our organs, in our balls, we all have microplastics inside of us. Pretty rough. It's pretty fucking rough. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just, ideally, we just, like, you know, when Patriots win, this is part of what Patriots will do. They'll just clean up the agricultural and the food industry. All the industries. We just need to get Patriots, real Christians, God-fearing people into power. And from there, we can clean things up. They made fake... Yeah, I saw they made the fake butter, yeah. Yep. Very concerning. Raising chickens is easy? Yeah, the chicken stuff is easy. Environmental activist chicks. Yeah, man, it's, dude. It's almost like God gave us all the stuff we need to eat and be healthy. God's got to be sitting there like, come on, man. Why do you think I made cows? like, come on, man. You need fake butter? What are we doing? Every day we stray further from God, don't we? But, yeah, dude, it's like, yeah, there's just poison in all the food. It's rough. You heard from a farmer daughter that chickens are dog shit? You gotta manage them too much. Cattle is very passive and easier if you got the land. I mean, like, you know, chickens are like kind of, they freak out a lot. I don't know. The thing is, you can have like a chicken coop in like a city, you know? You can live in a city and have a chicken coop, like in a small backyard, you know? Can't really have cows though. So cows obviously require more land. Too much of an optimist. No, I mean, I'm just talking about, like, if we're gonna fix it, this is how we fix it, you know? I love chickens. Skill issue? Yeah. I mean, all animals go to heaven, so I don't know what the issue is. I don't know if they do. I actually don't think they do. I think most animals go to purgatory because they don't have souls. I think it was Thomas Aquinas, don't quote me on that, that said if an animal is necessary for somebody's happiness, then an exception can be made. But yeah, and that kind of sucks. You know, it's a little sad. But I mean, it makes sense. What about what asshole chimpanzees that bully their brethren? Yeah. Chickens and ducks are extremely low maintenance. Yeah, that's what I hear. So.
Oh, but it gets better. It gets so much better. Because guess who's at this party? This was retweeted hundreds of times. The tweet seems to stagnate. Posobiec is an anti-globalist. He sent out a few more tweets, hashtag Macron leaks, then went to the rented mansion party where the Cinco de Milo party was being held. Yiannopoulos was made his grand entrance descending a curving staircase with a large yellow snake around his neck. I think they left something else out.
The Israeli flag he was draped in? You have to raise pigs to keep away the small hats. They're super... What are small hats? Think about it for a second. Think about it for a second.
That he had there. He was also draped in an Israeli flag. Do you know that about the party?
Look how fucking degenerate this shit is, man.
And at some point, he put on an Israeli flag at this party where they're attacking Macron. This was 8 years ago. Now, here's the coup de grace. This is going to bring it home once and for all.
They don't have free will like Adam and Eve didn't. No, Adam and Eve did have free will. Yeah, Adam and Eve did have free will. And the Garden of Eden, you know, is its own like separate thing. But no, the whole fall, the whole reason why humanity fell was because they disobeyed God. Because Adam and Eve used their free will to disobey God and eat from the, eat the forbidden fruit. Yeah, Milo's super fucking gay. In case you guys didn't know that, Milo is legitimately talking about getting pounded by black men. Like, this is not even like he gives speeches about how, like, dude, he's just such he's a homosexual degenerate. Like, that's who we're dealing with. Yeah, super gay. Yeah, Cravelers. That's kind of the problem with the Adam and Eve thing. Dumbasses, of course, they had free... Dude, chill, bro. Chill. Yeah, they abused their free will.
This is from yesterday.
Garden of Eden situation was the reason why they were sent to Earth.
Heartbroken Vance pleads for Musk and Trump to just get back together already.
That's kind of the plight of humanity. We have free will, but so often people misuse it. I hope these gay apps release the info of the politicians that are gay. Yeah, you know, that's probably, funny you should say that. That's probably part of the blackmail. You know, many of these dating apps are run by Jews. Many of these Jews have connections to Unit 8200, Israel's tech branch. Like they groom people to go into American Silicon Valley companies. That's a big part of what Palantir is. And so I'm pretty sure Tinder is owned by a Jew. I wouldn't be surprised if what's Grindr? I wouldn't be surprised if like Grindr was also owned by some kind of Jew. And it's like an open secret, dude. Like every time there's like a Republican National Convention, there's like major Grindr outages. I remember like last year at the RNC, that was the news story that there were major Grindr outages because all these fucking people are gay. There's like so many gay people in the Republican Party. People like Lindsey Graham. This is a deep pull, but like Lindsey Graham was known for having like this is so gross, bro. So fucking gross. But there was this leak that like Lindsey Graham has. I don't even want to talk about it, dude. Just look up Lindsey Graham ladybugs, okay? Senator Lindsey Graham. I don't even want to talk about it. It's nasty. And the reason why they were aware of their nakedness, if not mistaken, was that it was in the Quran. I don't know about the Bible. Yeah, they became shamed because they wanted to hide from God. Whereas previously they were with God. There was, no reason. There was no sin. There was no sense of that. It wasn't a thing. And it's this idea that shame is the sense of wrongdoing. They did wrong and they knew it was wrong. And so they tried to hide from God. And you see a lot of that. I mean, that's kind of how people are. I think Epstein List has list of gays. Which app do you use, huh? You got me. You got me. I need to delete my Grindr profile right now. They're on to me. Pornhub owned by a Jew. Yeah. Through the subsidiary MindGeek. A rabbi, by the way, not just a Jew, but a rabbi owns Pornhub. Funny that. You're playing a game. Can you talk about it? What? That's the reason I watch you, so I don't have to read myself. What? No, I'm not looking that up. No, I don't want to. It's gross. Yeah. Pig Riggs said they even made our special forces do Milo stuff. Yeah, no, I've heard that sometimes they have like hazing, like in the SEALs, for example. I've heard this rumor too, and sometimes it gets kind of gay. So, wouldn't surprise me. They're sailors after all. Imagine going to a restaurant and the server tells you to refill your own drink. I swear, dude. I swear. Just fucking. I swear, I'm just. Like. Like that scene in like Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr. when he's like, discombobulate. That's gonna be me to you, fucking when I see you in person. Just discombobulate. I swear. Rabbi Shmuley got kicked the other day. Oh, did he? That guy's a freak. Total degenerate freak.
Divorce is always hardest on the kids, but JD Vance still seems to think there's scope for Elon Musk and Donald Trump to pick up the pieces after their messy split.
No.
I really think it's a mistake for him to try to...
No, I don't watch Sherlock Holmes because I'm not a queer dude. Shut the fuck up, man. Shut up. Dude, this was the move. Okay, dude. Dude. Kumquat is my biggest fucking op, man. Yes, the mystery is mystery. Dude, I swear. There are such super soldiers that these guys have to do gay shit. No, yeah, I mean, look. I don't know how ubiquitous it is, but I've heard rumors. The special forces. I don't know. It's not something like I keep tabs on. You could probably just do a quick Google search. Go into your search bar, gay shit in U.S. Special Forces. I'm sure you'll find some stuff.
Break from the president, Vance told the Gateway Pundit. My hope is that by the time of the midterms, he's going to come back into the fold. It really makes you think. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Candace Owens does a hit piece on me. It backfires. She does a thing with Tucker Carlson where Tucker says, oh, JD Vance is a real patriot. It backfires. Candace brings on Milo, who defends JD Vance. A week later, Elon Musk is replying to Milo, saying, I'm a Fed. This is a day after JD Vance is
what the fuck was... Jews are kind of nasty, not gonna lie. I was in the bathroom peeing one time. This Jew dude ran in the bathroom, took a shit, barely wiped his ass, and was done before I even finished peeing. What the fuck, bro? That's crazy. That's crazy. That's a crazy story, man. You're probably just like, what the fuck just happened, dude? That's nasty, man.
Being Trump to bring Elon back into the White House before the midterms. Do you see what's going on here? Now, here's my challenge. So this is all the receipts. This is all the information. We'll sum it up in a minute. Here's...
oy vey.
Let's make things a little interesting, shall we? Let's make things a little bit interesting on the show. You know, I don't know what Candace Owens' deal is. Her husband, George Farmer, is connected to Rebecca Mercer and Brexit and Nigel Farage, and by proxy, Bannon and all of this stuff. I don't know what her deal is. But she expressed skepticism over J.D. Vance. Candace.
Ass wiping is an important thing to do according to the Quran. You guys have weird stuff. You guys have weird stuff. Like, there's like a specific way you're supposed to like massage your gooch or something after you pee, right? There's like an official, you know, you gotta like something about that in like Muslim. I don't know if that's like a hadith or something. What's going on with that? Part of being Muslim is wiping your ass, guys. I believe you, but yeah, I don't know about Hinduism though. Hinduism's another story, bro. Gotta power wash that bitch. Yeah, dude, for real. Look. We live in the Big 25. You know, if you don't have like some kind of like some kind of bidet or like wet wipes, what are you doing? What are you doing, buddy? We have the technology. If you're just using toilet paper, even that's like you gotta step it up a little bit. You gotta step up your wipe game. You know? You're just not as clean as you could be in the Big 25, you know? You spend 10 minutes wiping before you're done. You gotta be thorough. You gotta be thorough. You know? Don't want any poopy. You don't want any you know, streaks going on back there, you know, don't want to be stinky. Can't have a stinky butthole. I'm sorry, you know? Can't have it. Don't source me, bro, but part of our prayer involves certain hygienic rituals, which having a dirty ass directly contradicts. Absolutely haram. You cannot have a shitty butthole. Absolutely haram. W, Muslim W. Yeah, well, you know, we might not agree on everything, but I think we can agree that we don't want to have stinky, nasty buttholes. Hindus, on the other hand, they'll use their hand. You believe that shit? They'll use their hand. They'll just... Oh. So you won't cover the relevant rumors on one of the biggest U.S. politicians currently, but we'll discuss pee-pee poo-poo talk. Okay, all right, fine. You want to talk about Lindsey Graham? So there was this rumor that like he was using like these gay apps, and people were repulsed by like some like bumps or some shit he had around his ass, and he said, "Oh, those are my ladybugs." He called them his ladybugs. You happy, kumquat? You happy now that you have that information? Got these weird growths around his butthole. Oh, they're just my ladybugs. What the fuck is that? Lindsey Graham for you. You have to use, I have to use water. You let your mom double check the cleanliness? Mother knows best. It sounds like you're just running defense for Mr. Graham. Yeah, I'm running interference. What do you know about Hindus, bro? You ever see their poop festivals? They legitimately have festivals. Dude. I wasn't planning on going in on Hindus, but in India, but they literally have these festivals where they take mounds of shit and they throw it at each other, and it's like a big fucking festival, like it's a food fight. Am I about to blow your mind? Like, bro. I don't know why people use toilet paper as it's dry. You need water of some sort. Yeah, you know, you just got to be thorough. Lindsey Graham is built for PVs. That's crazy. That's crazy. Why do you feel the need to even bring it up here? I'm just thinking of something useful relevant that's discussing about. All right, Kumquat, dude, I swear, fucking karate chops to the throat. On site, karate chops to the fucking throat. I know all there is to know about Hindus by looking at India, like, dude. They have like, you ever look at like, Indian Amazon? They have all kinds of like cow. Yeah, like look at this shit. Look, just first of all, look. I present to you without comment. You're about to have dinner. I'm sorry, but you need to know the truth. You need to see the truth. This is the truth. Some people can't handle the truth. They put cow dung on the... They do more with cow dung than just put it on the floor. And she doesn't own Pornhub. He's a co-founder of the investment group which owns it. So he owns Pornhub. If the investment group owns Pornhub, then he owns Pornhub. And so, what? I as far as I'm concerned, it's a difference without a distinction. Thanks for you ruining your dinner. No problem. Yeah. Yeah, look, you can get dung cakes. You can buy dung cakes on Amazon. 500 for $175. You can get your cow shit patties. You get some chloroform. Chloroform spray for kidnap. Bro, chloroform spray for kidnap. Like, dude. Very subtle. Sexy toy for... Sex toy penis pump for men. Yeah. Sexy bra for women, not use sex. Sex power capsule for men, long time. Oh, dude. We did, didn't we? We just took a detour. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it just gets worse. It just gets worse. Oh my gosh, bro. Oh man, bruh, okay, alright, we don't need to see Indian men wearing female panties. Dude. Okay. They literally eat shit over there. They've got like cow dung toothpaste. Yeah, every time I scam calls, I always tell them stop being shit. Yeah, there we go. Sorry to gross everybody out, but yeah, that's India for you. All right, we don't need to call them subhuman. We don't need to go that far, but they need help. That's what I think. That's my takeaway. I think India needs a little bit of help. You know what I mean? They need to learn how to use the toilet. They need to learn that eating shit is actually not hygienic. It's actually not good for you. Yeah, I think they need help. Would you come back to? Yeah, don't. Hey, don't worry about it. 4.5. I don't look. I've heard things about that. It's rough, man. It's rough. This is why Nick crashed down on Super Chat. Relax, Kumquat, relax.
Interested in the truth and journalism? You need to do a show on JD Vance. You need to investigate his connections to David Frum, to Peter Thiel, to David Sachs, to Elon Musk. You need to dig into the PayPal mafia, the antecedents of PayPal, which originated at Stanford, Max Levchin, and Bona, who ran.
It's kind of hard to get back into the zone after all that. I'm not gonna lie, like, man. India's leaders are religious fascists similar to the Israelis. Yeah, they're going after Christians in India. They're totally not. They do not like Christians in India. You're not calling them names. They are shit-faced. They pay with yeah. I mean, look. Hey, look. Hey, look. Where's the lie? That's all I'm saying. Where's the lie? It's descriptive. They like shit over there. Hey. I don't know. You know, what is that mean? Is that hurtful? I'm just looking at the evidence. That's all. India needs missionaries. They really do. They really... Maybe the British need to make a comeback. You know? Maybe the British... The British did some pretty rough things to the Indians, but they also brought them a lot of technology and infrastructure and order. Ugh. They have been recently trying to attack Pakistan and see the amount of it. Yeah. I mean, it's they don't like Pakistanis, which is funny because, I mean, they're like ethnic brothers, you know, Pakistanis and Indians. Call them names. I'll call them a couple of names. Look, this guy pause every 5 seconds. We're not getting through the video. Let's watch. All right, yeah, okay. I know. Let's just try to get through this. We're getting sidetracked too much. Yeah, the only people I care about India are Indians. Yeah, JD Vance, he's gonna be the POTUS, yeah.
The cryptography department at Stanford.
Let's try to get through this.
You need to do the deep dive on this. And when you do it, if you do it, you will come to the conclusion that Vance must be opposed in 2028 by any means necessary. Do it and see what happens. Candace Owens should go against JD Vance hard and see if she still gets the same treatment from Tucker Carlson and Milo. I'd be very interested to see what happens to her. Will she go after Vance in a thorough way? And if she does, what's going to happen to those connections? Because I have a feeling there's something going on here with all of that.
I think that might have been me. I don't know.
I have been the #1 Vance hater from the beginning. And why? Because he is being groomed to usurp America First and MAGA on behalf of the deep state in Israel, as I demonstrated last Friday and the week before that. Peter Thiel is a spook. He started the Stanford Review with money from Irving Kristol. He goes to, and Stanford is a spook school. He creates PayPal through the cryptography department under the supervision of an Israeli-born Jew and partnered up with Max Levchin, another Jew.
Wait, why did they call Candace a tiki head? Is this recent? Have there been any updates? Hang on, let's just check if there have been any updates in the drama. On W, okay. WW, positive perception. Oh, Charlie Kirk. Islam has conquered Britain. We cannot allow for the same in America. It's clearly, yeah. Look, man. It's not Islam that runs our country. Anyway.
PayPal Mafia is Elon Musk and David Sachs. He takes his money and banks it with Alex Karp and Joe Lansdale, 2 Israel First Jews, running a CIA program. For 7 years, the CIA is their only client. They visit Langley over 300 times. Concurrently, Tucker Carlson's at the Weekly Standard with Bill Kristol, Irving Kristol's son. Later on, JD Vance is groomed by Peter Thiel at Yale Law School. He's hired in Silicon Valley by Peter Thiel. He advises these other people like Rebecca Mercer. He gets involved in the Thiel universe.
And I recently called her a tiki head on one of the first streams on Candace after the interview. Probably just an insult. Probably nothing more to it than that. Man. That's all I like is comments.
During this time, Tucker Carlson is supporting JD Vance when he runs for Senate, has him on his show dozens and dozens of times. Tucker Carlson is backing Vance after Vance voted for Bill Kristol's handpicked candidate, Evan McMullen, a CIA agent. We already know Tucker's connections to the CIA. Who lobbies Trump to pick Vance? Tucker Carlson.
Oh, yeah, I guess I have to put my Twitter I took it out for a little bit because I wasn't sure if censorship would pick it up, but this is my Twitter handle right here. I should probably put it back in the description because I was a little concerned because there was a period of time where Twitter was way more like free speech and YouTube wasn't. And I'm like, you know, should I put my Twitter in there or not? But it seems like the censorship has let off entirely. But yeah, this is my Twitter handle right here. Mello was taken. I don't post a lot on Twitter, but I'm on Twitter a lot. Some people just have the Twitter talent, man. Some people just, they've got the game on lock, you know? Like, I look at posts from, like, Permabola. I'm sure we could find, like... Permabola's pretty goated with it. Like, he just understands the game. You know, he just understands the game. He constantly has... Look, he just constantly has, like, tweets going fucking viral and whatnot. I'm not one of those people, you know? I don't have the Twitter game on lock. Like, but Permabola's, like, and, like, Kaguya's top gal. Or, top girl or whatever. What is it? Kaguya? Pretty good meme account. Yeah, just like... They just understand Twitter, you know? They're just really good at it. I'm not one of those people.
And Elon Musk and Peter Thiel.
Many
Vance
bots?
becomes the vice president.
Are you missing out? You are missing out. You are missing out if you don't have Twitter. Because that's like where all the up-to-date stuff is going on, you know? I was kind of late to join Twitter too. But now it's like when you want to see like the interactions, because like this is where a lot of like, you know, Nick's back and forth with Candace are like, look, they're just going back and forth. And this is like, it's like for the most up-to-date, stories and news, it's happening on Twitter. Appreciate the follow. Yeah. And on Twitter, yeah, mainly for updates, mainly see what's going on. You know, I like Nick's tweets and whatnot. But I'm not like posting a lot. I don't have the game like that. You know what I mean? It's an art. It's an art form. You're still banned? Shit. Unlucky. Got to make a new account, I guess. Yeah, Promo, he just understands it, dude. I'm like, damn, okay. You know? Some people just get it. You need to check Nick's latest tweets. Yeah, I mean, look, I just turn on notifications because the whole right wing just revolves around Nick, as you can imagine, and just see what's going on. He's been tweeting a lot today because they're just going after him, you know? A lot of tweets. A lot of tweets. Yeah. Yeah, Toby Turner. Toby Turner Groiper. No, it's hard to meet a non-insane female after you're famous. Bro, I get it, Nick. However, one date, I'll pay for it. Let's go. W. Tobuscus. Yeah, it's actually, wait, what did she say? What is Candace on now? So let's see.
And this law.
Let's look at this first. Yeah, this is fucking insane. Okay, I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but Candace is shilling t-shirts to raise funds for the Macron lawsuit, complaining the lawsuit could ultimately cost $5 million. We do not have that money just laying around. Candace Owens has continually claimed the Macrons are attempting to impoverish her. Candace and her husband have an estimated combined wealth upwards of $250 million. Here is their real estate portfolio, estimated combined portfolio value, $50 million plus. London, 12-bedroom mansion, $19.5 million. Tennessee, USA, large family estate, $8 million. Austin, Texas, modern 5-bed mansion, $7 million. Malibu, California, luxurious 7,200 square foot estate, $5.5 million. Stamford, Connecticut, 5,700 square foot home, $6 million. Colorado Springs, 8,000 acre Ranch and house, 3.2 million. It goes on and on and on and on.
And this lawsuit, we got an estimate this weekend from a legal team.
Yeah, literally asking for protection from Trump.
Millions. I don't have that money. I really don't. I got to tell you, like, the estimate that we got, and I want to be clear, this is if it goes all the way through. So they said, like, from start to finish,
shit.
If they don't drop this at some point, blah, 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 here's how much it's going to cost you just to get through the deposition phase. Here's how much it's going to cost you to go all the way through. And they are estimating $5 million. It's like a lot of money. And we do not have that money just laying around.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you should sell one of your homes to pay for it. So I thought
we could actually sell some t-shirts. I just picture people wearing this, like, at the grocery store, like walking by each other, and like, we know what it means, like hashtag free Emmanuel. It's like subtle enough. I really like this, free Emmanuel. You're going to see somebody wearing a t-shirt and be like, we know what's up. We know what's going on in France. Somebody rescue Emmanuel Macron. I'm not kidding. The estimate is millions of dollars.
Good thing you should put that interview behind a paywall, huh? Don't tell me Candace is black and is scared. Yeah. Not a good look, man. Can we sell t-shirts for Macron? Yeah, can we rally behind Macron? The rightful king of France.
And this lawsuit
against this slanderous whore. Crazy. And then she replies, can you please list your source? Because I swear I only own one home in Tennessee. I feel like I just found out that I'm a long-lost princess. Please say this is true. Yeah. Yep. Real estate. Farmer owns significant real estate, including mansion in London, UK, France, Morocco, Belgium, Tennessee, purchased in 2020. It's open source. It's literally open source intelligence, man. This bitch thinks we're retarded. It's actually crazy. This Macron thing is just a distraction. She doesn't want to really condemn Israel. She's an actor, keeping people's mind on whether or not an old hag has a dick. It really is just retarded. And I didn't subject myself to watching her show, all like however many, like 10 hours of these shows where she speculates. At one point, she claimed that Brigitte Macron was actually Emmanuel's father. At one point, she said that. It's like, and there's no evidence to any of this nonsense whatsoever. Ron Unz actually, and I love Ron Unz, but he did a breakdown. He gave a scathing review on Candace Owens, essentially calling her a fucking dingbat, peddling all these conspiracy theories. So yeah, it's just like, dude, you cannot be serious. This woman is just not, she's either not smart or she's just a blatant propagandist for like Russia, because Russia has a big problem with France because they're going through a proxy war in northern West Africa right now. Imagine you finally get a tranny GF as a president. Someone keeps making bids about it. It's like, yeah, dude, why is she harshing the vibe? What's wrong with the little, what's wrong with the little penis on your wife, right? What's wrong with that? Hey, doesn't make Macron a pervert. What? He likes a little bit of dick now? Now he's a total degenerate? Kidding, of course, but yeah, it is a little weird how hard she's going on it, you know? A little funny. A little bizarre. It's just like, don't you have more important things to talk about? Her husband is worth more than 100 mil. He was handpicked by the Jewish chick to run the company Nick just mentioned. Yeah, I mean, look, that's how it's all connected. You know, that's how all of this is connected. Very, very enlightening. She's a tiki head. Yeah, just a tiki head. Just not beating the illiterate allegations.
As Vice President, Vance is advocating on behalf of Palantir, Doge, Israel. And what's the basis of Tucker's attack on me now? You're discrediting the good guys like J.D. Vance. Milo goes on Candace. J.D. Vance is a good guy. Elon replies to Milo, you're right, Nick Fuentes attacking Vance is a Fed, as Tucker Carlson said. Tucker said to Trump, if you don't pick Vance, the deep state will kill you. Think of it. Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and Tucker Carlson are telling Trump, the deep state will kill you if you don't pick Vance. Who the fuck is the deep state? If it isn't Elon Musk, the creator of Starshield, if it isn't Peter Thiel, the creator of Palantir, if it isn't Tucker Carlson, whose dad ran Voice of America and the U.S. Information Agency.
Not even convinced she's a guy. She just looks old, bro. Candace is peddling shit. Yeah, I agree with you. She also had like some like tragic like disorder. She got a lot of plastic surgery. I forgot the name of it, but and she went to the gym to like try to cope with that apparently. So people are talking about how like she's like super toned and whatnot and has this like cosmetic surgery, clearly that deal going on. And I'm just, you know, I'm just not convinced that that means what, that she has a penis now. People get old, bro. People get old. Is it a little weird? Is her relationship with Macron a little weird? Because she's what, 15 years older than him or something? Yeah. But does that mean she's a guy? No. And even then, like, to what end? What is the purpose, you know? So. Nick just told us who runs America. Yeah, you know. It is kind of creepy how all of this stuff is connected more than people are probably aware of.
That sounds like a failed threat. That's what that sounds like to me. And the reason they're trying to shut me up is because, one, I'm talking about Israel and Jewishness as such, and because I'm not on board with Trump and Vance. That is why they're attacking me. That's the difference between me and them. What's the difference between Tucker, Elon, and me? They support Vance and I don't. What's the difference between Tucker, Candace, everybody on Tucker's show? They say it's neocons, it's Zionists. I'm saying no, it has something to do with Judaism. They're all involved in this network of oligarchs and billionaires. I'm the realest nigga on the internet that's in the middle of my generational run. And it is not going to come to an end anytime soon over my dead body.
Here we go.
Because a bunch of fucking autistic spurgs that weren't even born here are going to try and lie on my name. Elon Musk, you weren't born here. Milo, you're a Jew and you weren't born here. Candace Owens, your husband wasn't born here. Go the fuck home. This is America first. I was born in America. This is the only country I've ever known, and I will die for America. Can you say the same? I am America first. You are not. You're not even American.
Let's fucking go.
And to the extent that you are, you're a fucking traitor. That's the last word on that. That's the show.
He is real.
Who is the Fed? Will the real federal agent please stand up? Who is it? Who's the real federal agent? Elon, Peter Thiel, J.D. Vance, Tucker, and George Farmer, the son of the head of the Alliance of Christians and Jews in the UK? Or the realest fucking nigga you know? Patrick Bet-David said, why do you say the N-word? It's to show people I'm real. Why do you roll out of bed at 3 a.m. and do a show? Why do you say you're going to have hate sex with Candace Owens? Why do you say nigger? It's to show you I'm the real nigga on the show. All these people that have been taking checks from Fox News, Turning Point USA, Dennis Prager, they're just not ready for this. They're not ready that we're in the Groyper generation. Because all this time, these past 8 years, what do you think I've been doing? Your attacks, your slander, your persecution. I have only been growing stronger. Don't you get it? I have only been gathering strength. 8 years. Lied about, censored, attacked, persecuted. Well, you were at parties getting millions of dollars for doing bullshit. Your show is ass, and you're full of shit, and you're retarded. And that is why I'm not just coming for Rumble. I'm not just coming for Twitter. I'm coming for all of it. I'm coming for all of it.
Let's
you
fucking
thought you'd
go.
bring me on the show and press me about Dave Smith? You don't know who the fuck you're dealing with. You let in a fucking dragon, bitch. Imagine shooting a man with this last bullet, which actually happened to me. They came to my house. They tried to kill me. I'm still here. I'm still at this house. You know where to find me.
Let's go.
Bitch! You tried shooting with your last bullet, and I stand there, unfazed. So bring it on. Elon Musk, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk. I'm coming for all of it. I'm going to fuck up your apple cart, and all the king's men are not going to be able to put it back together again. You might kill me in the process, but you're fucking done. Signed, America. That's my body. And that's me. And that's my body. So that's that. That's all we got for you tonight.
Let's go.
How long was this show? The show was like 3 hours again?
Let's
I promise
go.
you,
That
I'm not
was-
even, I'm just going live and I'm just going off. All right, but that's our show. That's all I got for you tonight.
Dude.
But that's what it is. What time is it? Charlie
He seems kind of
Kirk
angry. What
says,
happened?
Did you see this clip? He
Oh,
goes,
man. Did you miss it all?
Your Generation Z sons have negative views about Israel. You need to tell them this. Time out. You need to tell them, time out. He said, if you feel like a loser, if you feel like your country's been destroyed, get a second job. Get a Hillsdale online course. Observe the Shabbos. He literally said this.
Oh, man.
I am hurtling towards you, full force, going nearly 90 miles per hour, weighing close to 1,500 pounds. I am hurtling towards you like a human missile to blow up this whole thing. And you're telling Generation Z, buy a Hillsdale course, get a second job, observe the Shabbos, go to Turning Point? Fuck you. You are not ready for this. You are not prepared for this. And I'll say it now like I did in 2017, the day after Charlottesville. A tidal wave of white identity is coming. And once word gets out, they will not be able to stop it. As I said, the day after Charlottesville, 8 years ago, prophetic. You think you're in control? Do you feel in charge? Who else we gonna bring in? Elon, Tucker, Candace. You know what their next move is gonna be. It's been fun. It's been fun. It's been a good time. But pray for your boy. Because the problem is, look, I've been doing this for a long time. People watch the show, they're like, this show's great. I've been saying this for 10 years. All this stuff, I've been saying it for 10 years. That's why they locked me up. That's why they shut me down. The problem is I'm just saying it now to everybody. And they're going to make me pay. In one way or another, they're going to try and shut me down. They're going to try and make me pay. And I'm okay with that. You know? People are going to believe what they want to believe. Haters going to hate. People are going to talk. You know? They could hurt me if they wanted to. But I just can't help myself. So,
oh, man.
And that has multiple meanings.
Yeah, dude. There you go. There you go. Yeah, that was one hell of a way to cap that off. What was Gimmick Francie talking about the other day? What was his deal? I forget. Yeah, no, look, we do have to pray for Nick though. I mean, they are they are probably going to try to kill him again. They can't stop him. They can't beat him. They can't humiliate him. They can't contain him. So, not really informed on Nick. Is his Gen Z influence majority white or mixed? I would say majority white, but he does have a lot of influence on really all kinds of people now. It's not exclusively white. Although that is a big thrust of his movement is white identitarianism. Maintaining the white majority in white countries, specifically America, because that's what America was founded on. It's advocating for the interests of white people, particularly because nobody else will. Go pre-workout, you'll buy it. Yeah. Imagine. Is Rumble like YouTube? In a way, but it's a lot more political, overtly political, and more, I would say, like right-wing, because a lot of people got banned on YouTube that were right-wing and they went to Rumble. But YouTube is clearly the bigger platform. Ichilo, if he becomes a martyr, it will mean he was a real one. And he was a shaheed for his faith in his country. When he said, I can't help myself, it has multiple meanings. You know what he actually means. I think what he means by that is literally like he has to tell the truth, for starters. He's compelled to tell the truth. But let me replay that actually.
People are going to believe what they want to believe. Haters going to hate. People are going to talk. They could hurt me if they wanted to, but I just can't help myself. And that has multiple meanings.
I think that means, first, it means he can't help himself but tell the truth, but he can't help himself out of this situation. You understand? It's a little dark, but he can't help himself out of this. It's in the hands of God, ultimately. It's a little dark, So there's the positive sentiment that he can't help himself but tell the truth, but to, shake the hornet's nest. And in a darker tone, his fate has been sealed. It's not in his hands. That's what that means. Are there any good millennial political speakers? Specifically millennials? Nobody's on Nick's level, period, in any generation. I guess Myron is a millennial. Myron Gaines from Fresh and Fit. He's super tight with Nick. But not doesn't quite have the same message, but he calls out, he talks about geopolitics. I don't know, but nothing like Nick. There's nobody out there like Nick. How do I feel about white identitarianism? I think it's common sense. I think, I think nobody's going to look out for white people's interests if not for white people. And I think white people are certainly entitled to have sovereignty over their own country in the same way that other people are going to advocate for sovereignty over their country. I think, and a lot of this comes down to race and IQ, race realism, and that is to say that we have unique genetics. Race is a real thing, and those genetics predispose you to certain behavior. And so what that means is that white civilization could only be built by white people, can only be built and maintained by white people, in the same way that Japanese civilization could only be built by Japanese people, or Arab civilization could only be built and maintained by Arabs. And that if other people were to come into those countries, it would fundamentally change those countries and change those civilizations. And as such, if we like America, in particular, we're talking about America, and we like what America represents and the best parts of America and the greatest aspects of America, we have to recognize that that is a creation of white people, of white civilization. And that if we were to change the makeup, if we were to change the population, that would change our country. It would change the trajectory of our country. It would change, how people behave, because we're not interchangeable. People are not interchangeable. So, I agree. Whites made the world livable. I mean, look, there's other civilizations out there. The Japanese, I think, have a very good civilization, respectable one. I think certainly, to be magnanimous, I think, there are parts of the Arab world that are, or the Muslim world that are more civilized than others. But I think that there's a reason why people find Western countries, European white countries, so appealing. That's because they're built by white people, and people want to live here because they're high functioning, high trust, productive countries that have a high quality of life, of living. And typically Europeans, white people, are more accepting, and they're more liberal in that sense. So they're a lot more kind to foreigners or people that are different. And sometimes very clearly that gets taken advantage of. Is it like Nick Fuentes? Exodus? No, I mean, I can't help myself. When they come for me, it actually means he can't help himself. He needs help from us as well. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was alluding to. His fate is somewhat out of his hands. It's in the hands of, like, whatever is going to happen to him is going to happen to him, It's very dark. I think the guy from the interview yesterday is a millennial. Oh, yeah, Sam Hyde. Sam Hyde's a millennial. He's good. No good speakers. Myron is cool. Sam Hyde is really solid. Really, really solid. I really like Sam Hyde. I think read his or watch his this is really good. If you don't know who Sam Hyde is, this is a really good I think introduction. He did a thing called Dear Elon, December 30th of last year. You can find it on YouTube, you can find it on X, but Sam Hyde's really, really solid. Gotta listen to boomers like Mearsheimer, Greenwald, Finkelstein. Well, Greenwald and Finkelstein are Jews. Mearsheimer is pretty solid, but they're not going to take it. They're not going to piece everything together like Nick is, and ultimately, like they're pretty liberal. As far as like eloquence and the messaging, the movement, nobody else is doing what Nick is doing. He's unique. He's in his own category in that sense. Because there are a lot of good speakers out there, but not a lot of people that actually have motion, have a movement behind them, have a vision. That's what Nick has. He has an alternative to what we're currently experiencing. He has a vision for the future, and he has a plan for how we're going to get there. It's one thing to complain about shit or tell the truth about the people running things. It's another thing to offer a viable and meaningful alternative and have motion behind you. St. Thomas Aquinas likened it to a fountain. We spring from the same font, and Fuentes means fountain. Does it? I didn't know Fuentes means fountain. I know Nicholas means victory, so victory fountain, I suppose. That's when you learn something new every day. All three are Jews. Yeah, I didn't realize that about Mearsheimer, but Mearsheimer wrote a good book. Do I have it here? Yeah. He wrote this book right here, the Israel Lobby. Pretty good introduction if you know nothing about the Israeli lobby. I mean, so it's pretty solid. Pretty solid information in this. It's a good book. Highly recommend it. Yeah, so Mearsheimer is pretty good. But for more intellectual stuff, I always point to Ron Unz. I think Unz is the gold standard. Japanese as well. I'd say whites, Asians, and Middle Easterns. Everyone else are just... Is Myron live right now? Look, I'll say this about about just people in general. I do think everybody has the opportunity to be their own person, regardless of your race. And so when we're, I want to make this clear so people can understand. And this goes for everybody. Every single human being has sufficient grace to, oh, thanks for the sub, has sufficient grace to come to God. Everybody has sufficient grace to make it to heaven. And everyone can be their own people. You know, the sins of your father are not yours to bear. But with that being said, like, there are generalities that we can draw from collective behavior. Stereotypes exist and they're real. And that is not an excuse to create this multi-ethnic, multicultural society, in particular because multiculturalism and multi-ethnic societies tend to be dysfunctional because people are tribal and people are vying for scarce resources. And so politically, they're going to advocate for their own interests that often don't overlap with the interests of other racial, ethnic, or religious groups. So that's a source of tension. It's a source of friction. It also makes it harder for people to empathize with one another if everybody looks different from them. Everybody has a different religion, a different background, or speaks another language. And so you see that it's actually a source of great conflict, not a source of strength. And so in an effort to, just very broadly speaking, to mitigate conflict, we should not try to cause too much intermixing in that sense. Otherwise, you get balkanization. You get cases where you look at what happened to the Balkans after the fall of the Soviet Union. You had these brutal civil war where millions of people died over ethnic cleansing between the Croatian Catholics, the Muslim Bosnians, and the Orthodox Serbs. And so I think in small doses, you know, where there is still a predominant ethnicity and culture, you can have minorities living in a place, and that's fine as long as there's assimilation and as long as there's a mutual understanding here that in the case of, like, let's take Japan, it would be very wrong and presumptuous for somebody who's not Japanese to go to Japan and try to change everything and say that, well, no, we should open up a bunch of Hindu temples or mosques or things like that where the host population don't want that and that doesn't reflect their interests. Or say that we should have a Pakistani president of Japan, for instance. The Japanese people are obviously not going to be in favor of that because it's like, well, why should a Pakistani rule over Japanese? They're going to want somebody Japanese who understands them and represents their interest. But again, like, with that being said, I think there is a way we can mitigate the friction that comes with diversity, because a lot of it's just baked into the equation anyway. Like, we're not going to create an ethno state. Like, we're not going to kick out all of the non whatevers out of the country. And frankly, a lot of people have been here for a very long time. Like, you know, you could argue a lot of black people have a certain claim to the country as well, who've been here for 300 years. And so I do think that there is a way we can mitigate the friction and tension that comes with diversity, but it's going to come with a common understanding. I think Christianity here in America makes, I mean, just from a pragmatic sense, it makes the most sense. If we all have the same moral code, we all abide by the same belief system, that creates a lot more cohesion. And so I do think that will play a pivotal role in finding a way where we can all live amongst one another. But I do think it's also going to take some humility, particularly among minorities, to accept that this country was founded by Europeans and European principles and the European genetics. And so there are a lot of minorities who have this resentment towards white people for one reason or another. And there are, that's something certain groups of people use politically to their advantage, divide and conquer. A lot of Jews like to push this anti-white narrative. One, because there's resentment, but two, because it creates a political schism that they can then take advantage of. And that's a problem. This resentment is a problem. When people come to America and they call white people colonists and white people are evil bigots and racists, and they need to return California or Texas like back to Mexico, it's like, you know, we can't live with people who think like that. We can't live among people who have just this open hostility and resentment to the majority of white people that live here. That's just not going to fly. And that clearly creates problems, very real problems. So the reason why no one else can be like Nick, because no one else can predict futures like Nick. I mean, Nick is just on top of it, man. He's on top of it. What's his alternative? Yo, bro, do you know Whitney Webb and her book? I know about Whitney Webb. I never read her book, though. She's the foremost researcher on Epstein and his web. Interesting. I heard she's based, though. I don't know. I'm not familiar with her stuff, though. Stereotypes are true. Funny, if I believe in stereotypes, I'd be more right oftentimes than wrong. Well, that's exactly it. And it's like, trust your instincts, man. It's like, you know, stereotypes are real. And look, I think stereotypes make sense in the face of the unknown. Everybody has an opportunity as an individual to represent themselves, but you can't reasonably expect people to not play into stereotypes when they have limited information. Like if you're walking late at night on a street and you see like a black guy wearing a hoodie coming your way, it's like alarm bells should be going off because of statistics, and your life could be on the line if you're not aware. And it is what it is. It's just reality. Yes, like black people tend to be more violent on average. It is what it is. We can debate why that is, but it is a statistical fact. And when your life is on the line, you don't know that person. What is a reasonable expectation? I think it's totally reasonable, yeah, to turn around, you know, or cross the street, because you don't know who this person is. It's one thing if it's your best friend that you've known since, you know, since kindergarten. And that is to say, there are plenty of upstanding black people and upstanding people from all different, you know, backgrounds. But you don't know who these people are in many of these cases. And sometimes even when you do, it's like you can see trends in behavior. It's human nature to notice patterns. And so you should absolutely tap into that. And it doesn't mean you treat people cruelly. You know, it doesn't mean that that's an excuse to, like, you know, be cruel to, and I use that word specifically, cruel. But a lot of people will shield themselves from criticism. They'll call you a racist when really they just want something from you. You know, these people that come here, they just get to this country and then they turn around and they demand something from white people. Otherwise, white people, they're like, that's not going to fly. That's not going to fly at all. Millions of people died in the Yugoslav, what are you saying? Yugoslav balkanization? No, there was like 1 million people that died. I think it's like 2 million. I want to say. At least 1 million. It was fucked, man. I don't think like a lot of people died in that. Yeah. Americans were doing nothing but smoking pot and living in their huts. Native Americans, yeah. How about Indians? You're just gonna sweep them on the rug in their sake. Look, I don't hate Indians. I just think that, you know, I don't like the behavior, you know. I don't hate them. I just don't like what they do. They had no nation, no organizations, no governmental structure. This is their nation. Stereotypes equal data. Yeah. I had a black dude coming at me at night and the exact thing happened. But then again, I fought a lot of blacks, so I was able to handle myself. Damn. Yeah, I mean, like the best fight, the way to win every fight is to just avoid them, is to just not get into a fight, you know? These wars also displaced millions and resulted in numerous atrocities, including mass killings and ethnic cleansings. The exact number of deaths continues to be refined in new research, but 130 to 140,000 range. Maybe you're right. Maybe I got that number from. I have the book over here. I got that number from Clash of Civilizations. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but regardless, whether it was 130,000 or 1 million, a lot of people died. So If I'm wrong on that, I'm wrong on that, but whatever. And what do you mean by whites? Because before other immigrants came in, Italians were looked down upon as the minority and workers, while white encompasses mad nationalities. I think a lot of it comes down to, and I'll refer to this book again, the way that Clash of Civilizations kind of outlined it as a civilization is kind of the broadest category of that you can define like a group of people. And it's often defined by what they're not. And so if you have like a French person and an English person in a room, then you have two people, you have a French person and an English person. Then you introduce, let's say, a Chinese person and a Korean person. Then you can categorize that as 2 Europeans and 2 East Asians, or specifically 2 Western Europeans and 2 East Asians. It's not a perfect science, but you can sort of expand that net further and further, and to the point where that kind of lens, that what would you call it? A dialectic is no longer really fitting. And so I think a lot of it comes down to assimilation, because there was friction between like the Anglo, like the Brits, and then the Irish came, and they didn't like the Irish, and of course the Italians came. But nowadays it seems like a lot of that animosity has subsided. And there has been this sort of this assimilation, this real attempt at assimilation. And so I think that's what's most important. And the biggest, I would say, predictor of assimilation is genetics. So, Brian, this isn't their nation. If you don't have government nor organizational structure, they were just like animals, no different than the buffaloes that was roaming the area. I don't know if we don't have to call them animals, but no, I mean, the country was built by white people, by Europeans. There were people that lived on the land, but there was like, what, only 20 million, if even? Native, not even, I think it was was it 2 million? Let's just look this up. America's prior. Well, I should say North America. Kind of funny how you have to like pose it as actual questions now. So we'll just say a few million people. There were a few million Native Americans. There were no roads. There was no written language. Like clearly society was built by the Europeans that came here. You had a weird dream last night. I had a dream I was a Native American in your young 20s in an extremely small town, and my college application was denied, so I needed to sell drugs to support my mom and dad. Thanks for the contributions, Kumquat. Always valued. Now, they were people, dog. They had multiple nations that warred with each other, but they didn't have guns. He holds the stick's buck. I mean, you could say nations. I mean, again, they were not very sophisticated. And they were killing each other. They were butchering each other. And we're specifically talking about North America. They would scalp each other, enslave each other. It was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. And they just lost the Europeans. They just lost the Europeans because the Europeans were better at war. And now I would argue they're better off for it. Because look, they live in a civilized country. And I'm not going to say that everything that Europeans did to the Native Americans was good. There were some bad things that happened, of course. But overall, I think they would much rather live in a civilized society built by Europeans than what existed here prior. Yeah, they had no written language. They had spoken language, but no written language. And GF was so angry because you became a small drug dealer. Very strange because I'm a middle-class white Aryan man. You're Mexican, kumquat. You forgot the Mexican part. You forgot the part where you're Mexican. I know what you are. I know what you are. You can't hide. Yeah. Yeah, they were primitive. And, you know, it is what it is. It's like, and yet still they have, like, there are some Native Americans that are just so bitter about, you know, how they got conquered. And it's like, you know, they're never bitter at other Native Americans who conquered their ancestors. They should have every grievance with other warring tribes than they do with Europeans. If anything, the Europeans put an end to those conflicts. So, yeah, the Mexican part of me is Spanish and French, bozo. I'll be the judge of that. I'll be the judge of that. Hitler's top guy. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, I don't want to dehumanize anybody. You know, they were human beings. But they were just primitive, and it's okay. You know, in the same way that people in Africa are human beings and they're primitive, like in Central Africa. It is what it is. You know, I don't want to dehumanize. They're human beings. I don't want them living in my neighborhood. You know, I mean, you look what happens when, like, with all of, like, the Haitian immigration into America. But yeah, they're still human beings, and you know, I wish everybody well. Europeans have always been at war with Europeans. Well, yeah, I mean, people go to war, you know. Arabs have been at war with other Arabs. The Chinese have been at war with themselves. Japanese, Russian, like everybody is at war with themselves, you know. But you look at the kind of civilization that I mean, just look at America. Look at the 1,000-foot view. Would anybody realistically want to live in, like, America before the Europeans came, or would people prefer to live in the kind of society that the Americans built? How bad do you think the Native Anishinaabe were? You think they were? You think it? I don't. You could do some research on that, Kumquat. That's all you. That's your field of expertise. But anyway, bottom line is, like, at the end of the day, America's here. And I think that's a good thing. Anything new going on? Anything new? Let me check Nick. All right. I think that's about it. Other than that, kind of a slow news day, I think. I guess I haven't really looked at the news. Whoops. Yeah, the Aztecs were particularly brutal. You know, they would conduct ritualistic human sacrifices. Need I say more? They were scalping each other brutally. Brutal society. So I don't think every society is obviously built the same or has the same morality. Who made the Ghibli edit? Oh, the movie? Oh, I know the account. No, that's not it. Okay, this guy is just ripping it off from the guy who originally posted it. Is he gonna at the person? I want the original account. Dude, people just, they literally rip off other people's fucking content. Yeah, here we go.
You just interviewed Nick Fuentes.
I did.
Or had a conversation with him. What did you think of that? What do you think of him?
My experience with Nick Fuentes is that he's a terrible person and a terrible human being.
But he is clearly part of a campaign to discredit non-crazy right voices.
I can confirm he's dishonest.
This child, this weird little gay kid in his basement in Chicago, young white men who've been totally cut out of our economy. I mean, they really are the victims, and they're desperate, and no one speaks for them. So they go to Fuentes because he's like incredibly articulate, and they think he's our leader. But in one of the saddest ironies of all, like, he's acting against your interests, actually.
But then when it comes to me, I'm one of the real disaffected white people. You want to talk about me and them? I am them. He says Nick Fuentes is leading all of the disaffected young white men. I am a disaffected young white man. I was a precocious, intelligent, young white college student who went to Boston University, who was pro-Trump and red-pilled by Trump and animated by Trump's message of America first. And I asked questions about Israel, and I was punished for it. I did it years before Tucker Carlson started talking about Israel last year. And I sacrificed, and I was targeted by the ADL, by the SPLC, by the federal government, by the conservative movement that both Candace and Tucker were a part of. He's lonely, he's weird, he lives in a basement. That's a lot of people because of the problems you claim to care about. Do you care about Klarna and people going into debt to order pizzas and home ownership being impossible? Or do you think that's a contemptible, low-status thing to be ridiculed and mocked? What is wrong with being from Chicago? What is wrong with being weird? What is wrong with living in your basement? I'm the inauthentic person. I am that person. I am a spokesman for the disaffected white man because I am one, and you two are not. My dad didn't even graduate college. My mother's father was a garbage man in Chicago, and he committed suicide. He was a veteran of World War II. Who's the CIA cutout? Who's the poser? Who is America? I am America. Chicago is America. That's an American story.
Goated edit. Goated edit. Actually goated. Actually goated. Ah.
You just interviewed Nick.
Anyway, on that note, man, I've been live for 3.5 hours. I need to get some dinner. Oh, man. Dude, it's crazy, man. It's actually crazy. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Everyone's getting red pilled. Everyone's waking up to what's going on. Oh. Okay, so I guess this is official. Myron's gonna host the collab with Nick and Tate.
There's gotta be one real nigga. Can the real nigga please stand up? There has to be one real nigga left.
I've been nice, I've been patient, but they busted my house again. And if the fault is death, guess what? I die with a fucking spine.
They came to my house. They tried to kill me. Imagine shooting a man
With your last bullet.
and I stand there
Unfazed.
You niggas ready? You niggas ready? Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? You guys got it here first, baby. We're taking over. You guys been asking me for this for fucking years. The 3 most bad motherfuckers on the internet coming together Thursday. You guys fucking ready, baby, or what?
Let's go. Let's go. Thursday. Yeah, I'll react to that. I'll be covering that on Thursday. 100%. Thursday. Like, hey, guys, get along in chat here. Everybody, relax, okay? Relax. Everybody cool it down. Let's all try to be polite here. I think that's about it though. I think that's is there anything else going on? Anything to talk about? Oh yeah, the National Guard in DC. Little sus. Not a huge fan of the federal government. Like, maybe if you asked me 5 years ago, I would have been in support of, the National Guard cleaning up these cities, these crime-riddled cities, but not when you've got anti-Semitism laws and shit. That is in order, Nick, Meyer, and then Tate. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what's going on, because there are some suspicions. There are some suspicions about Tate. He's been a little quiet recently. He's been a little quiet about the Matrix attack against Nick. So this will be a very interesting. I think this will be a very interesting stream on Thursday, because it's a little sus. Not gonna lie, it's a little sus. Because when he says, like, he likes Tucker and Candace, it's like, hang on a second, buddy. But Tucker and Candace, if you watch Nick's show, you see what they're trying to pull, you see who they're associated with, you'll see they're full of shit. So, Tate might be a Fed. He might be. But we'll see what he has to say on Thursday. I got my suspicions. So we'll see if he, clears it up or not. Or it only makes it worse. But look, he admits his dad was in the CIA. That's a little weird. That's a little funny. That's a little bizarre. Katie's just waiting for Thursday. Well, we'll see. We'll see what the consensus is on Thursday. You probably have more affinity than maybe many of us for Tate, considering he's Muslim. But we'll see. We'll see what he has to say on Thursday. I think that's going to be interesting. Has Tucker even, like, what is like Tucker, what does he put out? What is he putting out now? Because it looks like he's trying to, like, appeal to Catholics again. Yeah. Seed oil gang? What you eating? What you eating? Seed oil gang. Damn, I could go for some Chick-fil-A right now. Shit. Yeah, Tucker and Candace are the enemies. Yeah, 100%. If Teal railed Nate, railed? What do you railed? I'll have doubts about Tate. Tucker doesn't have a TV or email. He's full of shit, bro. You don't think he has an email? You don't think he has a fucking email? You think he really is just this fucking bozo living in the woods? He's a grifter. He's full of shit. He's not some guy living off the land. I'm just like you. You know he's full of shit because his shtick is completely different from now than 20 years ago. When he was wearing bow ties and talking about, like this like yacht club elite. Now he wants to pretend like he's just a real, grassroots kind of guy. Yeah, he's a liar. He's not to be trusted. W. Nick. He's the real fucking deal, man. He's the real deal. Real fucking deal. Oh, what the hell? That's nasty. Bro. Oh, man. That's fucking funny. Oh, man. Jackson Hinkle, man. Like, even though Tucker intro, it's just so country and funny. Yeah, I mean, look, he's just trying to appeal to everyday Americans. Hey, you guys like hunting, right? You Americans? Conservatives, you guys like hunting and living out in the woods and shit? Dude, it's so tiresome, man. Very true, Spexo. Very true. All right, now we're just kind of goy scrolling here. Now we're just kind of goy scrolling. Is there anything else I should cover? I think that's kind of it I should cover for today.
See somebody that's that good.
Oh yeah, that's just
at
Asmongold
FPS.
reacting to a cheater. I was clicking on. Is there anything else going on? Let's go. Let's look at the news. Oops.
The D.C. National Guard have started showing up on city streets here in Washington. The president deployed about 800 guardsmen. Trump also took over D.C. Police Department, doing so for 30 days.
Why would Tucker, I was saying, who's going to be president and threaten the president? I mean, look, you just look at who he's involved with, and that's enough. That's totally disqualifying as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. The fact that he was working for neocons, all right, Bill Kristol, son of Irving Kristol, who was the grandfather of neoconservatism, should just tell you everything you know. He was in favor of the Iraq War, in favor of U.S. intervention in the Middle East on behalf of Israel. And he called out Pat Buchanan, called him all kinds of terror. The same tactics he's using against Nick, he used on Pat Buchanan 26 years ago. So Tucker's totally full of shit. Asmon I like Asmon as like a normie barometer. When I want to know what the normies are like up to, where they're at, I like to put on Asmon just to see. But Asmon's all right. He hosted that one debate with Nick like 6 years ago on the Trainwrecks Scuffed podcast. Back before Nick got like super canceled. But he's had some nice things to say about Nick. Yeah, he's on Twitch too. So he's a bit of a kind of a Zionist shill. But we'll see. We'll see if he comes around. You are nothing but a propagandized goy experiment. What are we talking about here? What's with the hostilities? Can you ask Nick to start on time? Thank you for your attention to this matter. Let me text Nick right now and say, hey, Hippocratic Oath wants you to start your show on time. Yeah. Yeah, great. Let me DM him on Twitter while we're at it. Anything else? Anything else? Any other requests? Do you want a Big Mac with that too? Would you like a Big Mac as well? Maybe some large fries while we're at it. I'm sure he'll be very receptive. I'm sure he'll be extremely receptive. Like over under, he's probably not starting the show till like 11 tonight anyway. Realistically. You don't want to get nuked? Oh yeah, let me get nuked on your behalf. I'll take the fall for you.
There was a meeting today between the mayor of the District of Columbia and the Attorney General.
And the U.S. Attorney for D.C. and this new official who actually is the administrator of the Metropolitan Police of Washington, the DEA
Is Nick
administrator.
about to go live?
Harry Cole.
No. Realistically, no. He's not even, doesn't even have the pre-show up yet. I would predict today. I don't know, maybe like 11 o'clock. He's probably going to talk about Armenia today. But I imagine he'll touch on some of the developing drama that's happened today. But, And he's not going live anytime soon, dude. Anytime soon. It's okay. We stand back and stand by. Damn. It's waiting in the lobby. Only real American patriots. 11 p.m. Eastern, probably Central. I would say like maybe in like 2 hours he'll be live. If I had to guess. Yeah.
A lot of names involved with running a municipal local police department. You don't see a lot of differences right now. There's some federal agents manning posts throughout the District of Columbia. They're spread out pretty wide. You may see some of them with badges and firearms at night. The DC Guard, that's a much different look. The optics of that are different, Major. They likely will arrive on the street in the coming days. They've arrived at their armory to prepare for deployment, but all of this comes without an end game, or where this goes or where this ends.
And what are they being told they are most likely to do once deployed, the National Guard, Scott?
The National Guard have different rules, obviously, under which they operate. They're using a different type of authority here called Title 32. What does Title 32 mean? It means they have some law enforcement role. Most National Guard deployments are under Title 10, or they don't have a law enforcement role. Our CBS News reporting is that they're not likely to be brandishing firearms at their post, street side, or on sidewalks in neighborhoods. They may be part of the logistical support for police, helping them move things or move people to certain places, move equipment. But it's far from clear what that role is because we haven't seen this before. We don't know how this plays out. We talked to a number of folks who live in these communities and have lived there their whole lives. They like the extra law enforcement. Nobody's protesting having extra police to make things safer on streets, but they have some consternation about what this is or is not with the National Guard troops.
And is the National Guard subject to that 30-day limit that the takeover of the D.C. police is subject to?
The National Guard has the ability to be called up by the president unilaterally at any point. So the time limits here
for any duration.
For any duration. The law enforcement, the federalization of the municipal police department, that has a 30-day window on it. But some of this feels fungible because there's no guarantee it lasts the whole 30 days, nor is there a guarantee this isn't enacted again in the future. And we spoke to one longtime community activist in the
I mean, all of this could just be a PR stunt. Trump promised to restore law and order. The cities are kind of shitholes right now. Could be a PR stunt. But given his cabinet's clear agenda to combat anti-Semitism, and the potential war with Iran looming on the horizon and the threat of a false flag, I do have a bad feeling about this. It's almost like they're positioning themselves to declare like martial law, setting a certain precedent. If I can engage in speculation for a minute, Israel obviously wants America to fight their war with Iran, or wants America to fight Iran on their behalf. Obviously, most of America wants nothing to do with that. So, following Israel's track record, their history of false flags in the past, it's totally plausible that they'll commit a false flag in America, blame it on Iran, so that America would go and bomb Iran. Now, if there's a false flag on American soil, that necessitates a response, not just internationally, but domestically as well. People would question, how could this happen? We're supposed to have security. You know, what's going on here? So it doesn't take much of an imagination to see that, well, the pretense would be we're cracking down on potential terrorist threats, and that gives them the excuse to declare like martial law, mass surveillance, mass censorship, and a crackdown on things like anti-Semitism. It'll give them the you see where I'm going with this. Is going to order 88 Catholics. It's a little scary. It's a little scary because it's clear he's not our guy. It's clear he's just a vessel for Israel. And Israel, the Jewish lobby would very much like anti-Semitism to get squashed by any means necessary. And so I have a bad feeling about this precedent. And I'm not saying definitively they will false flag. It's all contingent. If they deem it necessary, they'll do it. But I am worried because what we would see would be somewhat unprecedented, right? Unprecedented level of censorship, surveillance, and martial law, all of that. Something we haven't seen in America at least not for a very long time. And so what that means is, for an unprecedented response, you might need an unprecedented attack, maybe something truly horrific on American soil. And that might, because they want to shock people too. They want to make people more emotional, not thinking rationally. Because people are very skeptical right now. They're very skeptical of the government. They're skeptical of government overreach. And so I think it would have to be something unconscionable. A sort of sum of all fears moment on American soil to scare people into total compliance. I don't think Americans can take another 9/11. We shall rise, ooga booga. Yeah, that's maybe the illegals were let in so that militarized surveillance could come into play easier as an excuse to get rid of them. And then that's what I think so too. I think that's the pretense, right? They'll blame it on Biden's open border policy. 10 million illegals under Biden. We told you we need to do something about this. Who knows how many Iranian cells are in America? We gotta lock things down to figure things out. You can see where they can easily go with that, where they can pivot. It just takes that spark. It just takes that catalyst, which would be a false flag. And then Israel gets what they want. They get a war with Iran, and they get a censorship against all these so-called anti-Semites. And then people can't talk about Israel anymore because they're locking things down. People can't share anti-America, quote in quotations, sentiment because they're spreading terrorist propaganda, something like that. So it's very, and again, we live in a post-9/11 world. We live in a post-COVID world, post-JFK assassination world. People are wise to it. So that's why I think if they do pull a false flag, it would have to be something like unheard of, like a nuke going off on American soil. And that would actually fit because, they're claiming Iran they're always 10 days away, supposedly, from developing a nuke. Well, what if a nuke goes off? They blame it on Iran. They already have a nuke. We got to do something now. We told you. And that would be the excuse. That would be the pretense for all of that. Marina Abramovich said Trump was a master magician, order out of chaos. Well, yeah, she's that Satanist, right? Good night, Kumquat. I'm about to log off too. Been live for like 4 hours. IDK, I think Corona really made Americans more skeptical, if anything, in the near future and more aware. For the state to warrant a false flag, it would have to be a very nice false flag. That's what I'm saying. Because people are more aware, I think they would have to up the ante. They would have to make it more extreme. Scary place to be in. Very scary. It's very concerning to say the least. So they've false flagged us in the past. Look, they're committing a genocide in Palestine. It's very clear. They will not let anybody get in the way. They don't care who they have to kill. So what are we to them, if nothing but a vessel? The AI accidentally edited the First Amendment of the Constitution, which deals with habeas corpus. Fortunately, Spurgs noticed. I didn't hear about that. Or I kind of heard something about that. Something, well, I don't know if it was Grok or something. Said something, but yeah, I mean, AI is whatever. Like, the AI algorithms, they're going to make mistakes. You can kind of get AI to say whatever. I think you can just look at what they're doing, the policy, the rhetoric that they're putting out, and it paints a very clear picture. So. Yeah. All right, everybody. On that note, oh man, my voice is kind of going. I'm gonna peace out here. Gotta eat some dinner. Everybody go watch Nick's show tonight. Everybody follow Nick. Yeah. AI actually, yeah, real 1984 shit. Yeah, for real. They sniped the only remaining journalist. I mean, yeah, they're killing journalists like every other week. Just ridiculous. Pee pee poo poo. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll go live tomorrow, probably around roughly the same time. I gotta shill, right? I gotta shill something. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all that shit.